Here we go. Shit, I forgot the button. Welcome everyone to FrameCast number 48. I hope you guys are all doing fine and well as you, Xeno. Are you good?
Kind of bloated. Eating a bit too much.
I mean,
Currently sat here watching an advert. Huh?
Rather have a little too much food in your stomach than a little too little.
Yeah, I mean, the upshot is that I'll get like sated as we do this, but like if I hadn't eaten before we started recording, then or streaming rather, then by the time we end, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm so hungry! I need the food in my belly."
Well, so it's only going to get better over time, hopefully, as we get into the FrameCast this week. The FrameCast is on the first day, which it's kind of thanks to me. I had something on Tuesday, so we have moved it very gracefully. Thank you, Drew, for having time on Thursday as well. So we could do it today. Also, a little announcement right at the start is, oh shit, we are still in the TemTem category on Twitch. Let me fix that. Because this is definitely not TemTem.
Totally TemTem.
No, this is going to be...
Talk about TemTem for the first 5 minutes and then we're fine.
Yeah, have you still played any TemTem?
No.
I recently played it, like Monday.
I know. Yeah.
Did you see? Oh yeah, you were there. So did you actually like finish TemTem until like the very end?
No. It's like I barely get enough time to do anything these days, and like, you know, I'm trying to convince myself like, no, I will not do an anime podcast. No, I will not do an anime podcast. No, I will not do an anime podcast. I'm like, well, I could do an anime podcast. God damn it, Brian.
So I guess that's what we're doing today. I guess today we're doing an anime podcast.
No.
What anime have you watched?
don't confuse the poor people.
Tower of God. Ooh, I mean the FrameCast, like are anime on TV frames or on the frame of your screen? Yes, they are. We can talk about them. We make the rules. Before we dive in though, did I already say like this is gonna be the last FrameCast in a little while? I'm going on a little break. Okay, haven't said this yet. A little important information before we get into the anime. I'm gonna go on a little break. I've already said I'm on Twitch, just a vacation of like 3 weeks, just to like do something else. And we'll be back in like the last week of July or something. So yeah, this is gonna be the last FrameCast in a while. You're gonna have to do it with this. You can re-listen to the entire catalog of 48 FrameCasts, which will last you probably like a long time, or we can like extend this for as long as we want. Anyway, so the topics for today, aside from anime, which we're definitely going to talk about, and I have a really big topic to talk about with you as well, but you're going to start that topic off, even though you might not know it. The topics for today are, you had a couple of topics, which are Blizzard Blacklist fail, IGN Office bullying, we have the Chinese version of Cyberpunk, Sin by Tencent. We have a low-budget next-gen Xbox leaked, named the Xbox Series S. Great name scheme, the Xbox. I really don't know. And EGX and PAX will host a 9-day free online convention together in September. Those are kind of like the topics that are coming up. But what's going on with anime? Tower of God. Have you watched the last episode?
Yes, I've watched the last episode. But like, let's not.
No. You said you wanted to do an anime. You said you were thinking about an anime podcast. What would you want to talk about? I mean, we were talking about the Tower of God. Like, honestly, Tower of God has been like one of the most insane anime, like seasonal anime of the last little while, except for like Dr. Stone and Demon Slayer. Like seriously, if you're looking for something which is like 12 to 24 episodes to watch, like these are the free series you definitely got to watch. But this was really good, and like the last episode aired like last week on Wednesday, and like I'm kind of sad it's gone. I don't know what to do with my life. It's I need to wait for season 2. But yeah, what do you think?
Like, so I strongly recommend people go watch. I think it's pronounced Glipner. That had its last episode on Sunday. I love that series. I am. Like, if it does not get a second season, I will genuinely cry. It is such a unique narrative. I recommend people watch that. Dr. Stone, it's all right, but it kind of like it dragged out for me a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I love Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer was freaking amazing all the way through. What else have I been watching recently? I've also been like trying to find some older stuff. What's the name of the? I've been watching one called Please Don't Judge Me for This. Kaiju or Kaiju? No, Kaijo or Kijo. Like, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it. But it's basically a tournament show involving the entire cast is girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they might be wearing swimsuits the entire time. It is hilarious. It is really funny. It like you can't take it seriously. The core premise is just so goddamn flawed, but it's got so many nice characteristics to it. It's like the characters are likable. The way that they take things way too seriously is likable. It's really lighthearted. It is actually really good and fun to. That's pretty much it. Blue Demon. So
Keijo Sumo of boobs on pool. Wow. Should I see?
No. Sumo of boobs and pool. That's the description. It's just called Keijo.
Should I see if we can like phone in DK to like join it for this FrameCast if we're talking about like
if
scantily
we
clad anime girls.
If we want to do a genuine anime podcast, right? Because like I've been toying with this idea. I would love to have DK on, maybe as a regular guest. Like,
all right,
but
you know what?
Yeah.
You know what? Let's do this like for sure. Let's do an anime themed. I mean, I guess we could do like an anime themed episode of the FrameCast, like towards the end of July, so like we can have some time to plan and like see whether DK is up for the idea, and then like if it's something that people really enjoy, we can see whether we're gonna like continue it or make like something else, or maybe it's just gonna be a one-off. I like that idea. I think it's a really cool thing.
That's a good idea.
Okay, cool. Now, well, I'm like you also shared a tweet, but let's not go. Let's keep our anime topics to ourselves for like the next time. Actually, like speaking of which, I've also been watching a very good anime for the plot recently. I recently like finished watching Kill la Kill again, which I didn't really complete when it came out in 2014. So it was fun going back. Like it's a lot of similarities to like Gurren Lagann, which is really good. So
it's done by the same studio.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, so like the authors of Gurren Lagann were Gainax. The authors of Kill la Kill were Trigger.
Mm-hmm.
So Trigger animated both, but Gainax authored
Gurren
Lagann.
Yeah. Okay. So, let's see. What is the next thing? What do we call that casino?
Gaming. What have we played this week?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. What a surprise you asked that. Well, I've...
Have you finished it yet?
Yes, I have. Multiple times.
So you've got, like, C&D endings?
Yes, I have played... I've been playing Nier Automata, like, for days straight now. And it is goddamn amazing. If you haven't played this game yet, go play it. It is crazy. You've been telling me so many times, Drew, that like you should play it, you should play it. I've always been like, okay, I will. This time I sat down, I played it, and like, God fucking damn it, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Everyone that ever complains about content in a game that says like, this game has so little content. I need a game with content. Go play Nier Automata. This game has so much content. Yeah. It is crazy. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah. Can you find the meme for me and just shove it on the screen? It's the one with the guy, I'm not crying, I'm not gonna cry, and then is like lying on the floor crying. Do you remember that meme?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so go find that for me, shove it up on the screen area. So when I played Nier Automata, I finished the A ending, and I was like, I was 12 hours into Nier Automata, and then it goes like, oh, let's do the B route. And the B route focuses on a character that I typically do not like in Nier Automata.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I can't be bothered with this. Then, now that, when you do play it, that will take you up to 15 hours. So that's like, that route is only like 3 hours, nice time. But like, whenever I watched the intro, like placeholder when you're on the start screen, but like you're not doing anything, and then it just runs this demo video.
Yeah.
There was always this one scene, one specific clip out of the whole thing that I never recognized. I'm like, I don't recognize that thing. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to continue playing Nier Automata. I did the B path. And then I discovered there was a second half game.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what the hell? And when I finished the second half of the game at 5 a.m, I played it for 15 hours. No. Was it like 17 hours? No, 18 hours straight. I played it for 18 hours solid. I finished at 5 a.m, right? Put the thing up, right? This is what I was like at the end. Like I was like on the verge of freaking crying my eyes out.
Ah, shit, it's not working.
Oh well, screw it. Like,
just imagine Drew crying his eyes out. No, seriously. So like
everyone knows the meme.
So like if you haven't played it, without giving too much away, basically like
give nothing away. I will hurt you if you do.
Basically, the game like it gives you a very, very interesting world. Like when you start out with it, it's like it's set in the future. It's around like androids and machines and like fighting each other sort of thing, and like kind of like dystopian future, trying to like save it as like to very like it's such an like it's an interesting place. The world looks interesting. The characters are interesting. There's a lot of character development in many different characters. But you play for a story, and ultimately like the story comes to a conclusion, and bada bing, bada boom, it's like the story is over, and it's an ending where you're like, okay, well, that's an ending to a game. However, I liked it, but I was kind of pissed because like you finish the game and it's like, okay, well, it's finished, like the main line is finished, but there's so many subplots that are not done yet. How dare you say that this is it? Like, this can't be it. There needs to be more. There needs to be fucking more. But like, you've already played for like 12 hours, and like the game is done. Most games end by 12 hours. Like, okay, well, I guess. And then like the game says like, oh yeah, we recommend you like play it a couple more times. Like you can restart it. I was like, oh, are they gonna like recommend me to like do a new game plus? Like, you know what? Let me just start out. Let me just do it, because like maybe like I kind of wanted to finish my side quest. That was like my main intention. And I was like, oh, now like you have two main characters, and you're always playing as one, and then like when you replay, you play as the second as the other one. And I was
the
like,
one I don't like.
Oh my god. Okay, so like at the start things are very similar, but then you start noticing different things. You get new cutscenes, and it's like, oh shit. Okay. What is going on? You get so much new information that you were missing. So much new information that opens up new ideas. So you're like, what, how, what, okay.
Yeah.
Then the game ends in the same way, because like you're playing it through again. It's like, all right, well, still stuck with a lot of questions. And it's like, do you want to play it again? It's like, well, whatever. Do you have a choice? Actually, no. It doesn't tell you to play again. It shows you a trailer of what could be literally a second game. Like, it shows you like a trailer where so many, like you're stuck with so many questions, and you see all these trailers. Like, goddamn, are they coming up with a sequel? Like, you start up the game again. Boom, new game. Entirely new game. Entirely new story, which just continues on until the end. However, where the first story is kind of like, it's a kind of sad thing, but it kind of ends beautifully. The second part of the story.
No more talking. Right? Cry emote. Cry meme. That's all you need to know, right? So you need to go. If you haven't played Nier Automata, go play Nier Automata. Seriously.
Definitely do it, but make sure you have the time to do it, because it will take a lot of time out of you, because you'll love it so much. That being said, did you know there was a prequel?
Yeah. There's multiple prequels.
I did not know.
There's Nier Replicant, Drakengard 1 and Drakengard 3. So it goes Drakengard 1. I think Drakengard 2 was done by someone else, so that's like not really canon. Then Drakengard 3, one of the alternate endings basically causes something to happen to the like an alternate Earth, where that is the timeline of Nier Replicant or Nier the other
Nier Gestalt.
I can't remember what that's the one. So there's like Nier Gestalt and Nier Replicant. One of them was Xbox, one of them was PlayStation, and they have like basically it's the same plot, but that leads on to Nier Automata, but tens of thousands of years later.
Oh my god. Silverfuck says that like
So
I will
they're
never
actually
have.
making a remake. They're actually
Oh
remaking Nier Replicant.
I can't wait. I
And
definitely want to play it.
yeah,
Silverfuck says I'll never have the pleasure of playing it. Why not, dude? You got it. You got it. Tribal says my favorite
yeah,
part of Nier Automata is when the Master Chief gives the Covenant back their bomb. Not gonna lie.
yeah,
Dude, we said no
totally.
spoilers, please.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, absolutely amazing game. Completely stunned. I'm kind of a sucker for plot-driven games, because like they just make you feel like you're going for an experience, and it's like, a lot of people say like, especially like recently with The Last of Us 2, where it's like, there were like reports where people said like, this is like the best game story ever. It's like on par with like the best movies ever made, and people were like criticizing that like you cannot make something as like, you cannot compare these things because games are always like kind of inferior in storytelling. Well, like the thing is I feel like this story works so well because like you're in it for so long. You have so many hours with these characters that you're relating to them so much that you're like at some point it's just like the story makes so much more sense. Like you just feel it. You just fucking feel it. And like literally when I was done, like after like the final playthrough, like after the final ending that I played, which was like 45 minutes ago. I've been playing it pretty much nonstop. I was literally just like looking at it, and like and then I discovered that there was like this prequel to it, and I was like, well, I wondered if they made any games about this game, because like I was literally like, it felt to me like I had just watched a movie, and I was like, they're probably gonna make like spin-off games of it, just like they did with like they do with like Avengers movies. But I was like, fuck, this was the fucking game, dude. They're not gonna make games about the fucking game because you already played that thing. But it felt so freaking good. It was such an interesting story. Like this is why I love story games. Like fuck me, people say that like say that single player story driven games are dead. Go fuck yourself. Like seriously, this is really good. I fucking enjoyed it. Thank you, Drew, for recommending this to me, for bringing this into my life.
Years and years. Me on the other hand, I ended up playing Destiny 2.
Oh, also a pretty high storytelling plot driven game.
Yeah, fuck you so much. It is such a bullshit pile. Right, so this is the thing that's actually made Destiny 2 worse for me.
Mm-hmm.
They've actually turned around as of Friday or something like that. It was last week, and they've said that they are removing 2/3 of the game's content with the next expansion because it's too buggy, quote unquote. So like the starting campaign, Warmind, and Tomb of Osiris.
Are they removing those?
Yeah, they're going to be removing them. So they're removing Earth, Mars, Mercury. No, not. Is it Mars? Titan. Oh no. Earth, Titan, Io, Mercury, and Mars. Yes, yeah. So they're removing those, but they're keeping Nessus, and so you'll have the weird shore place, which is Forsaken, and the moon, which is and they're what's it called, Shadowkeep. And they're bringing in one new location and one old Destiny 1 location.
Dude, like, what the fuck? Yeah. So, like, like these things. So, number one, the base, like, they're pretty much removing the base game, which people paid $60 for, and they're removing the first 2 DLCs, which people paid for, which were free. Like right now, like the thing which I really enjoyed about Destiny being free to play was that you had like the base campaign, you had the 2 like initial expansions, which are free right now. So you could play it up. You could play up a couple of hours. You could have a lot of fun with that. And then when you were happy with it, you could buy the next DLC. And I was kind of hoping that like maybe when the new thing comes out, maybe Forsaken will be free. So you always have like 2 things that are paid for. But like right now, like they're removing it. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, Destiny? Oh, like they had already pretty much axed. Like they'd already like lowered the importance of like the initial player quests, because like Normally, when you started up, you had to go for the first campaign and the second and the third. Now it was just like, oh, you're at the tower. You already have 750 power. You can just choose whatever you want to do. But still, that's not even like releasing very little content. That's removing actual content, removing your game. It's like, if people ever want to play that again, like, they're not gonna. Like, this is literally like destroying game history that no one can ever do anything about.
I've had people turn to me and say like, "Hey, do you want to do the raids for the original raids of Destiny 2?" And things? I'm like, at this point in time, I couldn't give a fuck. You know, like Destiny 2 might as well be dead to me, because like I'm sorry if you're stripping out content because it is buggy, or like. Sorry. Just to clarify, they are vaulting it to bring back at a later date, right? But yeah, they say, oh, in a year's time. I'm like, yeah, but what? You're just gonna resell us the content we already bought? Fuck that.
We've seen it before happen with Warframe, with only like a small portion of the game, like the raids. But like removing 3 main quests is like a really big chunk of like Destiny lore.
Removing 5 planets.
Yeah, like what the fuck? Is it okay? So is this maybe one of, like, aside from like the preservation of game history, which like is not gonna happen at all? Like, we're just losing big parts of Destiny. Like, pretty much they've already said, like, entirety of Destiny 1, if you're new to Destiny, you don't have to give a fuck. We don't care. You don't care. Fine. The first couple of quests, we don't care. You don't care. Fine. You're just gonna drop in the middle of the story. You don't have to know anything about it. We don't care. You don't care. Fine. But like, I'm wondering, like, is this like a problem? Like. We've seen it right now with 2 live service games, and with one, like with Warframe, I can kind of very well understand it. Like, I know it sucked when like the raids were removed, because that was something that people really did, really enjoyed. That was their particular niche in the game. They removed it, but it was like a very weird thing to this game, which is like 8 players instead of 4. Like, it was strange. Like, I could understand why that was removed, because it was like too buggy and like in order to like work with it. But now, like Destiny, it's like that's half your game. You're removing half your game because it's too buggy. Like, I think at this point, they'd better come around and just say like, "Hey guys, Destiny free" or something. Because I don't know. I don't know what would be a bigger insult. I seriously don't know what would be a bigger insult, that they just like remove half the game, or that they say we're gonna like make a new game and we're gonna like have like half the stuff that we had in the old game already in there, and then we're gonna build on that. Like, I don't know. It's so weird.
They say that like part of the reason why they're removing this content is because it's like devolved into a buggy, glitchy mess, right? But like, I literally ran the campaign from start to finish in 4 hours with a friend who'd never played it before on Saturday, and like the only things that we saw was like a glitchy mess, was literally the final boss fight, right? It's like we just one-shotted him in all his phases. That was the only thing that was wrong in the entire game. The rest of it was just like, it's just business as usual. So that, like, honestly, I just found that so freaking hell, seriously.
Yeah, but it like really shocks me, because it's not about the quality of the game. It's not about like whether you enjoyed it or not, whether you enjoy this element or not. It's just like, it's so weird. Like, it's so weird to me. Like, can you imagine with Warframe that they would remove the second dream because it's too buggy? It's like, oh yeah, we're just gonna remove that. You don't worry about it. Like, new players, whatever, they'll just figure it out. It's like removing an important piece of your puzzle. It's like, why? How? What happened? Who thought that this was a good idea? How many, like, were there any meetings and biscuits that were like spent on like thinking this over, or was this like, oh yeah, just scrap it?
Just to jump in, so Zen says supposedly they're removing half of the game due to the current size and how much it would continue adding up in gigabytes, and saying it would be hard juggling if they add so much new stuff. And it's just like, but that's the whole point, is like, you're supposed to be able to have choice, freedom to do this stuff. Yeah, I know the game is currently like nearly 100 gig, but like,
we're moving to that anyway. Like
Well, no,
Modern
fucking
Warfare.
look at,
Modern Warfare is like
yeah,
150
exactly. That's like,
gigs.
yeah, exactly. It's just like, I'm sorry. Either optimize your game engine, right, to reduce the file size down, or I don't know, because like most games, like most indie games, most just like games where they give a shit about how it performs and things, like it run like the file sizes are tiny because they actually fucking compress it and shit like yeah, fucking hell. Anyway.
Well, like okay, so like I don't know, like I'm really curious what the main appeal of Destiny is at this time to core Destiny players, because like okay, so for me, like it felt a lot like okay, it's like the public events and the raids. So like you play like it's kind of like Warframe, like you play through the story and then you go to the PVE content. But it feels to me like right now that they're more interested in like the PVE raids without like any connection to the story, and the Crucible, like the PvP content, and like all the story stuff. Apparently they don't care because like that's just getting scrapped. So I'm like,
it
okay, that's a bit
well,
weird.
we don't know. Let's
Yeah.
move
Well,
on
like
because like
the thing that I'm wondering is like let's say that like the main core is like the core game is like the raids and the PvP. Like, would it be like an option or like not a like strange idea to like say okay, how about we bring in DLC, like free DLC, like the idea of what downloadable content was. So like hey, if our problem is people don't want to install like 100 gigabyte game, fine, you'll install like half of the game. But if you want to play the original quest or like the second quest or the third quest, like you can download that, like downloadable content. You can download and install it so you can play it. It will not be online, but it will just be like, you can play it at least and like experience it like what DLC was meant to be, instead of like just, money expansions. But like wouldn't this be like the perfect place for DLC to exist if they're like if this is their problem, this size of the game?
I think there's a distinct difference between optional content and DLC. Like what you're talking about is chucking stuff away. Like I I don't know. Just like
Mm-hmm.
maybe they could just fucking fix their engine. Maybe they could just go right. We've got Destiny 2.2 or 2.5 or what the fuck ever, and it's using a brand new engine that can actually do compression, and instead of actually being fucking lazy as shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and we're just gonna port every, like the problem is they're damned if they do, if they're damned if they don't.
Yeah.
Because like if they go, here's Destiny 3, by the way, you have to start again. I'm not fucking buying that. I couldn't give a flying. I'm not doing that again. Right? That is a fucking it's supposed to be a game as a service, right?
Yeah.
Fucking bullshit.
Well,
If they
I don't think that they should go with the buying model. Like now that they've gone free to play on Destiny like as the base game, like they should go with Destiny free to play base game. But I think that right now we're seeing like the interesting side effects as live service games age, because like what you're saying with the game engine is like there's a lot of development over years in like technology and in game development and in games, and like Destiny started like how many years ago? Like many years ago. As like Destiny 1, and like they of course like upgraded to Destiny 2, maybe they made some changes, but like as the years go on, like you can't fully rebuild your entire game engine if you also want to release content as frequently as you did before.
no,
And
I call fucking bullshit on that. I'm not even going to bother with what's called Warframe as an example. I'm going to say the Quake engine. The current id software engine is a extension from the very first Quake game, right?
mm-hmm.
They are constantly innovating, adding to it. So Quake 1, Quake 2, Quake 3, Quake 4, oh god, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, Enemy Territory, Rage, they were all based on, I think there's some, Doom 3, they were all based on the same core that they had since Quake 1, but just modified it to keep up with the times, right? So if fucking what's it called, game developers like Epic Games can do that with the Unreal 4 engine, id Software can do that with the Quake engine, fucking DE can do that with the Evolution engine. No, I'm sorry, like Bungie can pull their fucking head out of their ass.
All right. Well, I'll go by your word. I'll go by your word.
Strong
Like,
opinion.
yeah, it's interesting. I'm curious how the Destiny community feels about this, especially the lore side of things, because I know some people won't care, but like some people, like if you're really like, if this was a game that I was really invested in for the lore, like just as how much we praise Nier Automata about like fucking, I love the story.
Yeah.
Like this would like if
Yeah.
I loved like if I loved Destiny story just as much, I would just be like I'd be devastated right now. I'd be like, God dang it. So yeah, that was a surprise. That was quite a thing. The Unreal Engine, the Evolution Engine are based on Quake. Blue Demon says, are they?
Unreal Engine is not. Half-Life 1 was. Unreal Engine was not based on Quake engine.
Okay. All right. So, topics for today. There were no comments. There were a couple, but not like comments to discuss. No, discussing comments about the topics. If you have anything that you want to like go deeper in on topics or whatever, you have any rant that you want to talk about, feel free to leave them in the comments on YouTube or like whatever. Like actually, don't Discord us. Just leave them in the YouTube comments. We're gonna get back to it in like 3 weeks time, so more than enough time for that for next episode. So let's get into the topics. Want to start with a topic of you, Drew?
Is this the Blizzard fail?
Whichever you want to choose.
Okay, so first off, the Blizzard fail, right? So, Blizzard is no longer the company that it used to be, where it was all about, you know, everyone has a voice, everyone voice matters, so on and so forth. I believe they have now removed that plaque from the statue outside their HQ, and which is just like, wow, that really speaks volumes. But recently, it became really public news that a Hearthstone gamer, can I remember their name? No. Did I get a chance to write down the notes? No, I did not. A Hearthstone player was banned from tournaments because of his affiliation with his wife, right? Because he is married to an ex Blizzard employee, he was banned from attending any event. Now, the reason for this is because she was let go amongst a mass of 800 Blizzard employees during 2018. After which they put up a job listing for effectively her job, right? After the fiscal year reports had like gone through and everything, and 2018 was supposed to be their best year yet. So they put up a listing for her job and everything, and she was pissed, too rightly so, right? Had I been let go because the company wasn't doing well, then the company reported that it was the best year ever, and then what's got a fucking job listing had come up for my position, I'd be fucking pissed and a half, right? And so she was very vocal on Twitter, right? Again, the age we live in now, I'm not surprised. She then, he was then querying why he was no longer being invited to Hearthstone tournaments. And basically it was his affiliation with his wife. And they came up with some bullshit about like, oh, it's because he hadn't signed an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, which is like that's crap. I've never been asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement, blah 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 blah. And it really caught the attention of, the gaming media. And lo and behold, all of a sudden it became, oh, no. They are more than welcome to come to these tournaments. This was a decision made by an employee that didn't have the authority to say that they couldn't come anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, Blizzard, you've already been caught out lying, saying that they hadn't signed an NDA. Now you're saying that another employee was trying to impose this on them, right? Like, can you get your fucking story straight? Right?
Well,
this is like so fucking shady.
Mm-hmm. I think that there's two things which is highlights which I am not a big fan of in like today's current like social media culture. That sounds a really boring sentence to say, but like that's kind of what it is. Number one, I really hate this entire idea. Where does this thing come from? Where it's like guilty by affiliation. Like this entire idea where people are like, oh, I don't like you. I don't like this person because he had this person on, or he associated with this person, or he talked to this person, or it's like it's so dumb because like if I speak to a person, if I have a relationship with a person, if we're talking with a person, we are still individuals. We are not the same person. They don't spread their beliefs and things like viruses into my mind and corrupt me. I'm just an individual person. This entire idea was like you can't be because you're associated. It's so dumb. But like it's something which the internet loves to grab on about, and apparently like I really hate this idea where companies like are jumping in on like the on the whims of like a vocal minority on the internet, where it's just like, oh yeah, no, he's bad. This person's bad because he's associated. And all the companies are like, oh yeah, let me just step out of it. It's like no, because like as long as people are just like spouting like nonsense around, like it holds no power until people start making decisions on it. So like this entire idea where it's like, oh yeah, it's like this person bad because he associated with this person who said something bad. It's like you all get rid of him. Like the moment that like people actually like cancel contracts, or don't engage with this person, then it holds weight. But it's completely nonsensical. And then the second thing is in this climate, like the only way to apparently like survive is like you can't like if you have made a mistake, like the moment that you come out in this like this social media space and say like I apologize for the mistake that I made, then apparently you're guilty of everything, every conceivable sin under the sun. So the best way to approach this right now is to not say you're sorry, just make up a lie and just go straight forward with it, and like no one cares because in a week people will have forgotten about it and they don't care. And it's like the moment that you just go like, oh yeah, nope, that didn't happen. Nope, absolutely not. Nope, that was just a random other person. That didn't happen. We're always good. It's like, and people getting away with it. And like you see it with Blizzard. Blizzard had many different things over the past 2 years, which are pretty damn bad. And they're always getting away with it because like they know like it has no real consequence. So it's such a weird space, and I do not like it, which is why I tend to stay away from all the Twitter stuff. But yeah.
So like I totally get where you're coming from, and I think one thing that impounds the problem to no end is how companies function. Right? This isn't any one specific company. This is a conceptual flaw with companies in general, right? So I'm going to give you a hypothetical company. Give me a hypothetical company name.
All right. Company Face.
Company Face. There we go.
Yeah.
We've got Company Face. That is our company name. Right? Now, imagine here I am. I'm working at Company Face. I am a developer. I've been the first developer at Company Face for the longest time. You're my boss.
Yeah.
Right? You're more my partner. Right?
Okay.
You're my partner and at Company Face, and we make decisions together, so on and so forth. Let's skip it forward again. We've made a successful product. We will call it Face. It's this new innovative social network called Face. We at Company Face, we built Face, but it's become too big, and we need to now bring in new employees, right? So we hire people that from the offset, they seem perfectly fine. So we hire someone. We've hired new developers to sit underneath me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh god, I'm not trained to manage developers, right? Let's hire a manager, right? So we hire a manager, and then that manager then basically takes the responsibilities I didn't want to deal with off of me, and I can continue like running the tech side of things. Like I can make sure that servers are running how they should. I can investigate. I can do R&D stuff. I can do what I want. And the manager is dealing with the shit I don't want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then the manager is doing stuff that isn't good. Like he's telling developers different deadlines, right? He's telling developers that, oh yeah, you need to do this, and like, but who reports to me? It's the manager, right? The manager turns around and says like, yeah, Jimmy over there, like he's producing shit work. He's awful. He's always giving things late. Doesn't he doesn't hear? I don't hear Jimmy's side of the story. I hear the manager's side of the story, and as a result, Jimmy, who is actually a very good, competent developer, leaves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the manager hires someone else. He's hired in Jake, right? Jake has the same hobbies as the manager, right? They both love air hockey, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have a burning passion for air hockey. They go to the same arcade every weekend and they do air hockey tournaments. Like, Jake is a shit developer. He doesn't do any of the work. And Thomas, right, is having to cover for Jake because Jake's work is awful, right? But Jake is friends with the manager. So the manager says, Thomas, get on, do your work. It's like, yeah, but I'm having to cover Jake's work. Jake's awful. No, it's fine. Just make sure that the product is fine. And, Thomas is getting away with scot-free. And then Thomas goes, I've had enough of this. And he leaves, right? And I'm like, what's going on? What's wrong with Thomas? I was like, Thomas decided that he wanted to expand. He wanted to go beyond what we had available to offer him. And, and it's a shit ton of lies. It's lies after lies after lies. And ultimately, I'm left with a shit show, right? Say the manager leaves, right? I have the ruin of a castle that shouldn't, like, this thing should have been properly built. This team should have been properly managed. And it's really hard to make sure that a company is not corrupt from the inside, right? As a result, they pull shit. Like, I was let go from one of my jobs because there was no more work, right? There wasn't any more work. Later, I found out that there was work, but they were refusing to give it to me because they wanted to get rid of me, right? Which is actually against the law, right? You cannot withhold an opportunity from an employee just because you feel like it. Just, they were discriminating against me, right? Oh, we don't think you're good enough to do it. It's like, well, you didn't give me any work for me to do. Like, how can you say I wouldn't do the work if you weren't going to give me any work, right? So they got rid of me. Turns out my manager, right, had all of his subordinates taken off of him because he blew up at every single one of them. He had a meltdown at all of them, right? So instead, he was given a corner office to do his R&D stuff, and someone else took over the management side of things, right? It happens all the time where an individual destroys departments because of corrupt behavior, right? And it is so difficult to prevent this sort of attitude from happening, right? Have I made my point clear?
Yeah,
I may have not.
Well, so the thing there's two things which I want to highlight. First of all, a part on which I agree with you. A second part where I want to be a little bit critical. So the first part, which I agree upon, is that um, in general, the company structure is is like the market structure. It is something which works really well in ideal form, where it's like if you want to like find the best way of creating something, or like creating something at the lowest cost, the market is the best place to do it, because in a free market you will find like the cheapest way of producing the best quality thing that people will buy. You'll find that point.
Yeah.
And in a company structure is also basically over time, seeing how long this has existed, it has been proven to be the best way of creating things like on a greater scale, um, like with a greater group of people, like keeping them organized in order to do this. It's not perfect, but it's right now like the system that there is. But it works, but it doesn't guide people properly into how to function within it. So what you see is like this is something which I mentioned within like my recent video about the Warframe partnership program, is like companies are not your friends. So it doesn't mean that they're bad. Like there can also be good companies, but they're still not your friends. Like people tend to, like, some people tend to like engage with companies like there are a person, or there's values within a company, like within a company structure inherently, which there aren't. Like there are no values inherent in a company structure. Like they can be added to like the people that are working within that, but it's not within the structure, because the only thing that the structure cares about is like creating profit, because that is what it's made for. It's like you go there, you create something, and like you get money, the company gets money. Like you create something, the company gets money, and you get money. That's kind of like the structure as it's set out to be. However, it doesn't teach you in any way like what to do. It doesn't like inherently reward things. So like if you just clock in and out at the right time and you don't do a particularly bad job that it gets noticed by everyone, then you can just get by. And that also encourages like this mentality of just like just getting through your day, just doing your job. I'm just doing what I'm told. It doesn't encourage you to like strive to do your very best. It just encourages you to do all right. And like because of that, like things like this where like people can come on and like kind of like to twist things around, or hire their own favorite people come around, because like it's not an inside a structure where it's like you can't do that, because then you'll be massively punished. Because if it doesn't go noticed, then like, okay, well, hey, got away with it. You both, like, you got your friend there, you both get more money. Hey, good for you. So that's a bit of an issue which I think will take time to refine. But I think point two, where I want to be a little bit critical about like the thing that you addressed, of course, like I can see how that is something which you have very close experience with yourself. And it's something which I believe is true in many different cases. However, in your scenario of like the company phase, it's still, if you are at the head of your company, it's still your responsibility as well. Like if your manager, like fails to provide an accurate report on this person, on this developer, it's still your responsibility to make sure that it's in truth. Like you can't completely blindly trust whatever this person says, because like it's your responsibility. Like you're paying someone to do part of your job, but you also got to oversee them, because at the end of the day, everything your employees do is your responsibility. So as like the thing is it's really hard in this world to like work in truth, but it's the only way which I deem is one of the best ways to go about it, because the world is as it is, and you can't twist it no matter how much you try and lie. So
So you're right. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. The thing is, it's dependent on being morally truthful and then being morally corrupt.
yeah,
Right?
so like
for me,
like
hold on.
okay.
For me, I couldn't justify firing my manager
Mm-hmm.
for the job that they're doing. Like what legal grounds could I fire them for? Right?
Well,
I can't say gross negligence,
you
right? There's
you
no
might
proof of it.
you must have like some clause, at least for like probably when you start off, you should have like some sort of probation period which should last a certain amount of time, at least a couple of months, so like you can both like separate your ways freely. But
Yeah,
you should also have a way where like if the performance isn't up to par, where like if you are not like if he is not
that's
like
not
if
allowed in the UK. Most countries do not allow. Honestly, one of the biggest ones that do is America. But you cannot fire someone for underperforming.
well
Right? It is your
but if
responsibility to make sure that they are performing correctly.
But if you have a person that you have employed that is straight up lying about like if straight up like their job is to tell you is to report to you, and they're like giving you false reports, that's literally they're not doing their job.
Right. So then, how do you prove that they're lying to you?
Well, because you get you get from them, you get their written statements, and you are in communication with your employees. You can go into communication with employees if there is like if you have an inkling that like, hey, this person isn't being truthful. You ask about the employees that he's reporting on. You get multiple witness statements about like, is this data that I have about this person slacking or not doing this or not doing that, like this things, and then you line it up and like, hey, you have a discrepancy.
So the problem becomes very much a case of, instead of actually taking the work off of me, they are generating more work for me.
Well,
so
only
I have filled
okay.
time.
So, but like that is that is because that's because you hired a wrong person. Like see, like this is the thing. Why
Well, I didn't know they were wrong.
Yeah, but like that doesn't mean that you're devoid of the responsibility. It's like you hired a person. That was your responsibility to hire that person. If that person was the best worker ever, then you would be like, people would come up to you and say, "Hey, dude, good job on hiring that person." However, if that person is a bad person, like it's also your responsibility to like clear it up. And yes, that will take more time.
Time you don't have. That's the important thing.
Yeah,
right?
but if you don't spend that time, there won't be a company to spend time on.
Right. The point is, right, if you have hired this individual to take this responsibility off of you, right, you're like, cool, I have now recouped 1/3 of my week. So I will now fill that 1/3 of my week with other responsibilities that need to be taken over, right? So I now have a full week, right? But then they've passed their probation, they've passed their 3-month probation, right? I then have to wait, right? So then I have to deal with an extra week's worth of work because this guy is causing all sorts of trouble, right? But I have no legal leg to let them go.
Well, then you should. Okay, so then the thing is, I don't know the exact laws or the exact regulations where you can work with or where you can't work with, but you should like if the rules are in such a way that you cannot let go of a person, then you should probably not put him in that position like so soon. Like the thing is, like let's say that your channel blows up and you can go and do like your channel blows up and you get millions of dollars to produce your content. Like you would hire, like you already hired an editor, but you would hire an editor, you hire a writer, you would hire like all sorts of people that will do your job for you. But that doesn't mean that you won't look over their work, that their work is still not your responsibility. So like if you hire me as a writer and I come up to you and like give you a garbage script, like you're not just gonna be like, it's not my responsibility, I'm just gonna read it. It's like, no, you're just gonna be like, dude, you did a shit job right here. Like you're gonna go and fix it. And like if they don't go and fix it, like you still have to put out your video, so you'll write it, or like you'll do something because like it's still your responsibility. If you're like you will still like go over what your editors do. You'll still go over what like at the end of the day, your channel is your responsibility. No matter how many people you like hire, like yes, they will take that responsibility off of you, but you are still responsible in the end. So like you always got like you can't get out of it like that.
I agree with you. However, all right, my editors, I do not review their work. I don't need to. All right.
Okay, so that is an important thing, which I also want to touch on. Why is that? That's because like you with your editors are on a friendly term, like on a friendly relationship.
Oh
like,
God, no.
Not?
God, no.
You're not on friendly terms with Joey?
No, I am, but that's got nothing to do with it, right?
Well,
I have seen their work. I have seen their past work.
But it's also got a lot to do with it, because like the thing is, like this is something which I want to bring up. It's like when it comes to family-owned companies, family-owned businesses, why do these things work? Like why if we start out, or like let's say that we start out with a company and we have Joey and Sandy and like we have people that we hire in that we know. Why does that work? But that's because like we all know each other. We know that this is a business
that's against the law.
We know that it's a business that we're invested in. Well, if we start a company with the four of us, then like we all know each other. We can start a company with the four of us. We can start a company
starting a company is fine, right?
Yeah.
But if we started a company and then we hired in, so it's me, you, Andy. So we hire in Hydroxy.
Yeah.
Right. That's against the law.
Well, if he wants to join the company, is it against it couldn't be against the law, like if we're just like If Hydroxate
Nepotism.
comes around and says like, hey, hey, you guys are doing cool stuff. You're like, hey, yeah, you want to join in the project, and you're just joining in the project. Like, it's probably
No,
like,
you have to. There are laws all across Europe and things that state you have to give everyone an equal opportunity to applying for a job.
but
This
we're not,
this is the actual
but
thing.
we're not making a job position. We're just creating. Let's say we're creating like a creator, like we're just creating a website or something, and
Uh-huh.
Hydroxate is like, oh yeah, man, like I want to like create this with it. It's like, oh yeah, dude, join in. It's like he's just part of the group. It's
Then
like what
you have
it's
to
like we're
do a
not
request for
searching.
proposal for people to bid on, because if a company, like, the whole point is, if you keep on hiring people that you like, that you create this huge environment of nepotism where um you know good, hard, honest workers can't get a decent job. It's like the whole idea of a monopoly or predatory marketing could work in an environment that you're describing. But if you force companies to say, right, if you want to hire someone to do this job, right, to do this contract work, to build this building or something, you have to put out a statement requesting people to apply with budgets and contract costs and all sorts of shit like this. You have to do that, and then you have the choice of picking the right person. So if you go, right, I have got this group of 50 CVs, right, and I hire Hydroxate, and one of them turns around and says, we have to apply to all of them and say, this is why you haven't been hired. The number of people that say, we found someone that was more skilled, right? If any single one of them turns around and says, no, I think you're dismissing me based on sexism. I think you're dismissing me based on race. I think you're dismissing me based on disability. Things like it's a whole legal shit show. The laws and rights and a person has, an employee has, or an individual trying to get a job, it's massive because of shit where companies will turn around and say, I'm going to hire them because they're my friend, right? That's how we have instances where people like get hired into like CEO positions and they make millions for doing literally nothing, right? They're not
But
brought into the company via a perhaps shareholders or a board of executives or anything like that. They're just hired through nepotism.
all right,
It's like
but the thing is like two things. Number one, like if someone incompetent is hired in a CEO position and gets millions of dollars without doing the proper work, that is not like anyone's problem but the company, who is losing a massive amounts of money for no compensation. Like the company is going to suffer for that massively, and that's their own bloody damn mistake. Number two, which is even more important, is like basically like you're hiring an editor like for your channel. Like you don't put out like you haven't put out like I am searching for an editor to the entire fucking world. You were just like, hey, I need to get some editing work done. Hey, there is someone that can edit. Hey, you want to do it? It's like, there we go. It's like, so like, aren't you in violation of these laws then?
No, because I'm not a company. That's the point.
Yeah, but you're still making money and they're getting your money.
Yeah, I'm making money. Sure.
Yeah, but like
I see your point, and wow, I love how you're trying to get me to indict myself.
well,
yeah, you
not
could
really,
look at it that way.
but because like the thing is like a lot of like small businesses, a lot of like startups start out with just like they don't go and like reach out to hiring firms or whatever because they don't have the resources to. It's literally like, hey, if you want to join, you join, and it's literally like the only people that will join are the people that they know. However, like the reason why I bring this up, like family-owned businesses, why they're so important, is because like as I said before, like the company structure doesn't have any value inherently within it. However, the value in a family-owned business comes from the family. It is because like you all know each other. You are aware of who these people are. You're aware of like what they're like. You're aware of like why you want this company to succeed, because you feel like it is your place, it's your company. Like you want everyone to succeed, and that is a place where these values are put forward and where this thing works. And that doesn't always have to be within family, because families aren't always great. But like if you have a business where, if you can like grow this business where everyone like feels involved and you can keep that going, like that is something where you can keep that value going on. But you got to invest in people, and like it's really hard in this like in this world, especially like the way that things are set up, especially like apart from like the legal side of things, which I don't know as much about at all, to like give critical commentary about. But aside from all these rules where it's like, hey, you know, there's this thing, these things you can do, these things you can do, and now also the social media side of things where people can go out and like shame a company, and where like massive amounts of people will react to like a dumb fucking tweet. Like who cares about what's on the internet? But anyway, apparently people do now. Like it becomes like such a minefield in a way that like it's not worth investing anymore, in the sense of like,
But
hey.
my point is, right, if it wasn't for the fact that social media was able to highlight this shit, we wouldn't hear about it today, right?
Well, okay,
We, the only way,
there is definitely a really important part of like democratization within social media of voices, where like everyone can speak up and everyone can reach an audience. But at the same
yeah,
time, it also brought upon like this entire idea of cancel culture, which is absolutely fucking shit. So like the thing is, okay, so like I don't remember exactly, but like there was a time where like when I joined like the Warframe creator thing, like there wasn't a lot of drama going on, or at least not publicly. So like if you reached out to someone and just like hung out with them, like it was fine because no one cared. And then at a certain point, like things became very drama like. So like you wouldn't really engage properly with people in conversation, because like anything could turn into drama. And like that is a really bad side of social media. And like that's also like the thing where it's like, hey, you know, it's good that there are like laws and regulations, but if there's like a law where it's like, hey, if I am doing a piss poor job at my job, you cannot fire me because you can't, then like that gives me all that gives me all the grounds to like just be a piss poor employee, because what do I care? And at the same time, you're probably going to have like as an employer, you're probably going to have a law that says I can pay you the minimum wage and don't give a fuck, and because like you're going to do a piss poor job because you can, then I'm going to pay you a piss poor wage because I can. And we're just going to like be in this ugly miserable
circle
like
of yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like that is a bad thing. It's like you like
So,
it, you don't want to be in that because it's bad for everyone.
so do you think that? Actually, no. I'm not gonna lead you around with things. I'm just gonna say my point, and then I think like you're welcome to rebuttal, and then we'll move on.
Yeah.
Right. No one is beyond redemption. Absolutely no one. After all the shit that's happened in the last few weeks with a lot of the Me Too stuff, right? Not saying there's anything wrong with it, but you know, there's a lot of people have been called out and they've had to effectively, you know, they've been cancelled, right? Fair enough. But they're not irredeemable, right?
No.
They can turn around and say, I've admitted my mistake, right? They can turn around and go, no, I'm the best person in the universe. Right? Do you know who Charlie Sheen is?
Vaguely, like I am aware of the name, and I think I know the face to it.
He was one of the main characters in the TV show comedy Two and a Half Men, right?
Yeah.
And they killed off his character, right? Because he was a horrible person, right? He what's called, there was a meme made out of him which was about like winning, right? And he was, you know, he would do drugs. He was constantly drunk. People just you could see it in his performance in the show. Like you're like, most of the time he was inebriated. People did not like working with him, so they fired him, right? Another name that is affiliated with drugs, hardcore drug use, Robert Downey Jr.,
Mm-hmm.
right? Before his reprise of Iron Man, before he took on the role of Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. became a huge drug addict.
Mm-hmm.
He what you call it? He was, I could be wrong on this. This is what I have heard. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. I don't think I am. But he played a character in the movie US Marshals,
Mm-hmm.
and he was really young in that. And there were so many reports of drug abuse and things like this. Ultimately, like, he was untouchable. Like, no one, sorry, not untouchable. He wasn't hireable, right?
Mm-hmm.
No one could hire him because of how bad, he was during his performance. And then he did a huge 180, right? Look, like, he is one of the most loved actors in all of Hollywood at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone loves Robert Downey Jr., right? Because of what he did, the 180 he pulled, and the amazing performance as Tony Stark for 10 or so years. Was it 10 years? It feels 10 years.
Yeah, it's somewhere like
Yeah.
that, over a decade.
Yeah.
I think it was 2008, so it's like 12 years.
Yeah. Well, it ended last year, didn't it?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
12 years ago.
So, right. So, people are able to be redeemed,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's up to them, right? And if people get away with this shit, if they don't even ask for forgiveness, if they don't try to go back on their ways, if they don't try to pull a Tony Stark, where instead of making weapons of mass destruction, they actually try to help people, what's the fucking point?
Well, I think there's 3 important points. First off, when it comes to social media and like the thing that cancel culture like comes out for me most importantly is that a lot of like the evidence and a lot of like the accusations come from social media, which is oftentimes in tweets or in like Facebook posts or whatever. Like most often, like these are by far the worst ways of like telling someone a very like detailed, comprehensive, and multiple point of view story. It's most of the time like a very short, comprised, text-based, one-sided story. And based on that, like whether that is written in a way that like catches people like in their emotions, like that will go viral. However, that brings me to like point 2. It's that well, actually, it's this so point 1 is like because of that, because it is such a poor way of communication, which like given its due, like social media is a really great forum because everyone now is able to speak. You can just sign up for free and like you can have an audience, which is a good thing overall. However, because of this, I think it's very important that point 1, like we must believe in like one of the foundational things that is within our culture, which is like innocent until proven guilty. I think this is point 2. Whenever cancel culture comes around, I find myself more often than not kind of siding with the canceled party. Not because I agree with what they did, not because I share their opinions, not because I think they're a good person, just because I really hate when people's voices are taken away. Like even the worst persons in the world, the worst ideas in the world need to be spoken about, because if the ideas are spoken about, then we can like with everyone we can like take them in and like dissect them, and we can talk about them, and we can like appropriately deem them as bad. The moment that we shut people out because we don't agree with you, you get into dangerous territory where these ideas or these people just go on the ground and continue to live forward. Because people aren't just their ideas. They aren't just like this one single thing. They're very complex beings. And maybe there is some sort of way in which people got to a certain point where they did things. Like even take this into like movie space or story space. Like there are so many stories out there where you will have like a villain who does like the worst things ever, like kills a whole bunch of people. Most of the time in superhero movies, like this is like the super villain kills so many people, and you have like this big fight with like the superhero, and then like the moment that like he knocks the super villain down before dealing the last blow, like it's revealed that this super villain has like a super tragic, very tragic backstory where he thought that like he was the hero in his story and like he had to kill these people, but then he sees he's wrong and like he gets defeated. It's like, well, not all people are bad. Yes, there are some very bad people around, but most people aren't, and most people have been led into like some way of acting because of like the things that surround them in their path, and maybe they have some belief systems which are fucked up. But like you won't change their beliefs by just like shutting them out. Like you can only change someone's belief if you speak to them and if you listen to them, and then like while listening to them, like trying to see where are they coming from and where are like our cross sections where we disagree, and is there any way in which I can make this person understand why I think this is wrong, and if he knows that it is wrong, why is this person doing this thing, and is there any way we can stop it other than just saying like we're just gonna kick you out, and we're just like it's such a fucked up thing where it's like, oh, we're just going to cancel someone because of one aspect of their personality. And we're not even going to bother to change people because people are just this one thing. People are so much more complex than just like this one idea that you might have gone because of a tweet. It's so dumb to just like judge an entire person by that. However, this is point 3, which I think is also very important to keep in mind, is like you are a sum of your collection of things. It's like, it is true that if you are very successful in one particular aspect in life, you will share that success with other aspects in your life. Like, let's say, PewDiePie like got very big because like he got 105 million subscribers because he made a lot of videos and made a lot of good gaming videos, and because of that, like whenever he releases music, it gets millions of views. Now, is he a really good musician? Probably not. But like because he's very successful in this aspect in life, like he gets more successful in the other aspects in life because that trickles down, because you are like you're just not just this one thing, you're like a complex set of big things. Because so like if you're very successful in one thing, that will probably like trickle down to other things. But the reverse is also true. So if you're a very bad person in one particular thing, like it also trickles down to other things, and that's also something you should keep in mind. So like if you are if you work very hard to make yourself very successful in one thing, like that will trickle down, that will have a positive effect, but that will also have the same thing if you're like doing the negative thing. So if you're super hard working into like getting yourself completely drugged up, like getting yourself into addict territory, like you're cutting friendships, you're being very 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 bad, not like that's something that you have a responsibility in. Like that isn't to say that like, oh no, everyone should just accept me because maybe I'm the next Robert Downey Jr. It's like, no, you should fix that, because like if you want the positive thing to work, like you gotta admit the negative thing works too. So like it's also up to you. So like that's kind of like my thoughts of the matter, I think.
Cool. Right. Should we move on?
Let's go with let me go with like
one of yours.
The titular topic. Low budget next gen Xbox is leaked, named the Xbox Series S. So leaks rumor about the launch of a next-gen Xbox coming along with the Xbox Series X, named the Xbox Series S. Still, I do not agree with their naming schemes. They're absolutely horrible. But anyway, last month, Microsoft released a game dev kit, which is kind of like a thing for devs to be used. So it gives developers knowledge about like the upcoming platforms, so like they can like be assisted with like publishing their games on the new platform. Aside like within that like dev kit, there's of course like they're naming the Xbox Series X by their code name, which like is Anaconda. That's their code name for Xbox Series X. But they're also naming a platform named Lockhart, which we don't know nothing about yet. But this platform seems to have less memory than the Xbox Series X, as is being noted. So speculations right now say that this might be a far cheaper console, which is launching right next to it, that will probably not be able to reach 4K resolution and will probably ship without a disk drive and lower memory. Now, I did have a picture of it. I'm going to try and see if I can like get this thing working. I just replugged the thing. It's not working. Okay. But basically, like, there is a picture of it. I can't show it to you yet, I think. Nope. But basically, like, just imagine like an Xbox Series X, which is like the triangle thing, just cut in half and white. Like that's the picture that's going around of it right now. And honestly, like it doesn't look quite bad because it's like a small, tiny cube. Now, with this thing, which is like it's still being rumored, so it's not quite like we don't know exactly what it will be or what kind of price it will be. But it kind of made me wonder, is there such a desire for like smaller and cheaper systems like without disk drive and like because we're seeing it with like the PlayStation 5 right now. You have like the PlayStation 5 with disc and with PlayStation 5 just digital version. Now you have like probably like the Xbox with two versions. Like, is there such a desire right now in the market that you want to have like less specs and less things for like a cheaper console? Like, would you go for that, or would you still go for like the base updated full spec version, Drew? If you buy a console, like I don't know if you buy a
It,
console.
it depends entirely on whether or not it's worth the money. Because, like, so I was talking to a friend about this. She wants to build a new PC, and she
Mm-hmm.
got a system spec from one of her friends, and the friend said get 3600 DDR4 RAM. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like 36 megahertz clock speed. And I said, yeah, you should do that, because the alternative is get something like 32 megahertz, so 3200 megahertz. But if you do that and you want to upgrade to 3600, you'll have to replace the entirety of the RAM.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's dependent entirely on your budget. It depends entirely on what's best value for money. Because, like, for example, when I upgraded my PC,
Yeah.
right, I put in 32 gig of RAM,
Mm-hmm.
which came to about 100 quid. All right. If I wanted to get 64, it was 500 quid.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's just like, hold on, you're charging me 5 times the price for twice as much memory. I think
Mm-hmm.
something does not add up here. I could have just bought two 32 gig blocks. So it was two 16 gig sticks sold together. So it was either two 16 gig sticks together or four 16 gig sticks sold together, or I could have just bought two packs of two 16 gig sticks
Mm-hmm.
and still end up like, so 200 quid as opposed to 500 quid. Like, where's the fucking logic? Like, the only reason why I did that is because the company only had one pack left when I bought it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I couldn't do 2 packs. But it's dependent entirely on what is best value for money. So say they turn around, what's the big box? What's the full spec of the Anaconda? Should we just call it Anaconda? It's a better name.
Yeah, I like the Anaconda, the Xbox Anaconda. I like that better.
And what
Yep.
was the other one?
Lockhard.
Right. So say they sell the Anaconda for oh god, 500 quid, right? And the Lockhart 400 quid. But the Anaconda has 32 gig of RAM and the Lockhart has 16 gig of RAM, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would totally go for the Anaconda because it's an extra 100 quid for twice as much RAM. Say the Lockhart doesn't come with a hard drive, but the Anaconda comes with an SSD. I would still go, but it's only 100 quid difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would still go with the Anaconda because it is so much better value for money, right? So it really depends on the price point to whether or not, if say better yet, the Anaconda was 500 quid, but the Lockhart was 200 quid. That's 300 quid difference. Then I would say the Lockhart is better value for money.
Yeah.
Right? It really entirely depends on the performance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you could get 4K on this one or 1080p on this one. Well, what am I playing it on? Right?
Yeah.
I've only got a 1080 TV, so
Mm-hmm.
there's no point in me getting the fucking 4K one.
Yeah,
I don't really care for a 4K.
that's something which I think is a very important thing for me as well, because like first of all, like if I initially look at like these down spec things, it's like, would I get like the down spec version of like this thing? It's like most gamers would say like no, like you want to get the most power out of your system. However, like if you start to think of it like as more of a casual approach, as most people are, and especially like even a family approach, like let's say like you're a mom or dad like buying it for your kids, like you're probably going to be spending like as hundreds of dollars on like your kid's gaming console, because like you won't you're not going to spend as much as like people that do this as their hobby or like really invested in it. So like then you're sort of wondering like what features are like really important, and it's like 4K, like I think that like up till like the PlayStation 4, like the last generation, like up till then resolution and quality of the image was really important. Like even like the PlayStation 3 and like I haven't owned the Xbox 360, but like the PlayStation 3 already started looking really good, but was still using like the free cables, like the free plugs. And then like already had HDMI, but still like the quality of the picture wasn't as great. And then like the PlayStation 4 came around and it was just like good quality, good HD video, good HD up to 4K with like the Pro model. But I think that right now it doesn't really matter that much anymore because like we haven't seen phones go past like 1080p because like on the small screen like 1080p to 4K doesn't really matter. People don't see the difference. And I think on TVs it's kind of the same thing. It's like most people still have in their room, if they're just like casual about like media consumption, they're probably just gonna have a 1080p like screen, and like most people don't care, or at least I'm saying most people, but like generally like I have like a 4K monitor, but like I can't tell the difference really between my 4K monitor and my 1080p like laptop screen and like my 720p TV. It's like I don't really see the difference, especially not when I'm just like playing a game for fun. So at that point, like if that console is like $200 or $100 less than like the other console, like that is like 2 free extra games that I could buy for like the price that's cut down from like the main console. I'm like, yeah, I would probably go for that. And if we take a look at like what the handheld market has suffered because of like mobile phones, like casuals make up such a large part of like sales that who knows, maybe this version will be like the best selling version. Like I'm seeing more and more good things about like this lower tier machine actually.
It really depends because it might increase load times. It might, um, oh god, yeah. So it might increase load times, which again isn't too big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it might mean you have to buy a external hard drive to go with the machine. If like I can't imagine they wouldn't, milk that for all it's worth. So like, okay, cool. So you're buying the lock card, which is 200 quid, but it's an additional 100 quid for, a, I don't know, 250 gig terabyte, sorry, 250 gig SSD, right?
Yeah.
And like, so like, hold on. So it's not 200 quid, it's 300 quid.
Yeah,
right?
but I think that like SSDs or something where like because like most of us know about like like hard drives versus SSDs and like the speeds between them, like we feel that. However, like most people like don't really care. It's like I feel that like unless you are really interested in like technology or computers, like consoles, like you're just gonna be like, oh my god, it starts up so fast, it's so cool. But most people are just gonna be like, yeah, I mean, there's waiting times, whatever, it's fun.
No, but I
They don't
think
care.
waiting times is a statistic that is used to measure the performance of uh, a console, right? It'll be like, so it's not the kids that these are critical things to care about. It's the parents, it's the adults, it's the adults with adult money that can spend it on whatever they want.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
like,
so
but I
but
feel
they will
okay.
do a comparison.
So like when you're talking about the adults with the adult money, do you mean like the adults like you, or do you mean the adults, the parents that are buying it for their kids?
I'm talking about the gamers, right? I'm talking about
Okay,
the
so like I'm okay. Then I'm making a statement that I feel that like the most sales are probably going to come from the adults that are like the parents of the children, or like the adults that are kind of like buying it for like when someone that games in the family comes over, or the adults that kind of like I think the casuals that don't care about the specs or like are very like not wise technology wise are buying a majority of the consoles. Like why was the Wii the most successful thing in for of its generation, even though spec wise it was like the worst thing.
because of the games.
It was the casual market. Why did Nintendo DS beat out the PlayStation Vita and PlayStation Portable?
It's again the games,
Yeah, because
right?
the
It's
casuals.
always the games.
Why are mobile devices beating out the handhelds except for like Nintendo that's holding on with like this convertible thing? It's casuals.
Because
Like
everyone has a phone.
yeah, and but like do you game on your phone? Like are you
No,
a mobile gamer?
no,
Is mobile gaming not like a vulgar word within like the gaming and tech enthusiast community?
no.
Well, actually, it kind of is.
No, it's not. Like the problem is that there's no good mobile games. It just like I think every gamer would love to play mobile gaming if there was anything worth playing. But the majority of them are these like gacha clickbait, get you really heavily into it. Like fucking was it Epic 7? Right? It's all this gacha shit.
Yeah, it
right?
is. It's
It's overwhelm you.
It is
to spend more money than like there's a YouTuber by the name of Giguk, right?
Hey, I know that guy.
Yeah, so he's an anime YouTuber. He does some actually really funny shit. He started a podcast, which was maybe I should do an anime based.
Let's find him with DK. Let's do this.
Anyway, but so he did a video which was spending like $1,000 on gacha games, right? And he explains his whole experience with it, and it's right. It's like it's 100% right, because you get accosted by this game. Oh, pardon me. You get accosted by this game to spend as much time as you can on it, and like at the end of it, you've got nothing to show for it.
No, these games really make you feel like something is coming, but they always hold it off because then when you can continue playing. I think that like the best remedy against these games is Nier Automata. Go play that, and then like you know what you're missing out on.
Ignoring that, right? Could you imagine Pokemon, right? I'm talking about the old school Pokemon games on your phone, right? People would play the fuck out of it.
So I don't have a controller around here, but like I can like the things that I'm that like even if we have Pokemon on it, like the things that I can see people already arguing about is like, oh, I don't have tactile feedback on this thing. I don't have real buttons, so like I can't really beat like it's not real gaming. Oh, there's no cooler on this thing. There's no ports on this thing.
I really don't think people care about that. I mean,
we were just talking about like, oh, maybe there is no SSD on this Xbox. Maybe there is no 4K on this. Maybe like it's
no, but we're talking about mobile gaming. Right,
we're talking about mobile, and like if people are taking mobile as seriously as they are taking like other forms of gaming seriously, then they're still going to be like, hey, I'm missing this. Is it displaying 4K quality? Is it like, does it have like the same load times?
My point was the games. My point was always the games.
I mean, the games are initially already a holdback, but if their games are like decent, people will still have these criticisms. Like, I think that it's still going to be really hard for like the hardcore games. Like, I think that even if they're going to port like a full-on sequel. Like, let's say that they port on like the entire full sequel of like Diablo 4 or 5. Like they're porting that over to mobile. Yeah. It's a true one-to-one Diablo 5, like the experience you've all been waiting for. And they're showing it off and they're saying it's only launching on mobile. Like, people are still going to get mad. Wouldn't they? Would it not? Would it just be like, oh yeah,
they would. They would, right? Because Diablo is primarily a PC environment.
Yeah, right? but if they manage to recreate that on
a mobile phone and actually shoving it on the emulator, right? Nothing. Yeah. People will do it because it is a big enough franchise.
Yeah, but they would still get mad though.
Oh god, yeah, but that's not what we're talking about here, right? Like, okay, introduce something like entirely uniquely different, right? A game that is, I mean, they've put first-person shooters on phones. And they've actually done fairly well, right? We're talking about like PUBG and shit like that, right? They're not amazing, right? But they're a lot better than the majority of the trite that's on the Play Store or the App Store.
Yeah, well, I mean, right? I've tried one of those as well. I've played Call of Duty. It was quite a lot of fun. But the thing was like on like when I play on console or play on PC, like I'm good, but not that good. But there, like when I was playing on mobile, like I was like ending matches with 35 kills to no deaths. It's like the quality, like it's a very casual market. Like that's the thing which I think is really important with like no matter how good you'll do on mobile, it's still like a very casual market. Like another example for the very casual market is like, look at Apple, look at MacBooks. Like everyone is buying these overpriced PCs, maybe because of work, but also because it's like a casual fashion statement. And people don't care about these specs because they're casual and boom, 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 I'll buy them. It's like the casual market is so big. The casual market has such a, like there's so many more users that are not completely invested in the thing that they're buying in for like pretty much all they buy. That like that is very deciding. Like I think that like this entire idea where it's like, oh, like we are the people that are very passionate about this have such an important role in it. Like yes, the people that are very passionate about it give it like a certain flavor about it because they really enjoy it and they'll probably speak out about it. However, I think that the impact on sales is bigger from the people that are casually about it, that don't really know that much about it. So bringing this back to like this
but
console
they're all
thing.
like every single sorry, like okay, sweeping generalization because like let's nip this in the bud. All console gamers are casual, right? Yeah, they didn't bother building a PC, buying a PC, or whatever because they just want to play the game.
I
Right?
mean, like then we can say you're casual too because like you didn't go for the ways of like developing your own graphics card or developing your own processor because you could get way better performance out of it if you build it all yourself. Like there's like you draw
That's
different lines.
bollocks, right?
But
That is
people can say that this is
no,
bollocks.
because if I built my own graphics card, right, I would then have to give it to the games developers so that they can actually interface with the drivers to make sure that like I'm sorry, Michelle, that is too far.
But
right?
like the thing is like even if you enjoy PC like yes there is a difference if you but still it's like it's your preference like I think that they're like calling all console gamers casuals like no I don't think
So
that's
why aren't there games for Linux? Right, I'm not even going to bother
There
with
are-
the Mac approach. Right? Why is there a fraction of the games developed for Linux compared to Windows
I
or
mean,
even consoles?
I mean, Linus is getting a whole lot of like Steam is having a great support right now. You can actually play a lot of games on it right now, like a whole lot. Like pretty much your Steam library, like many games work on there. Yep, it's like it's being adapted. It's being adapted. So, but why?
You're not answering the question.
But why
right?
is that so? Because the casual market hasn't adopted Linux yet.
Yeah,
It's
no
only
fucking
hardcore
shit!
enthusiasts.
Right? And
Yeah.
who has so what has the casual market adopted? Games consoles.
And PCs.
Bullshit.
Yes,
right?
but
I'm sorry. Bullshit. Casual gamers do not play on PC.
Okay,
They are
no.
so damn expensive. Wait.
Oh, no.
Name me one casual gamer, right, that plays on their own personal board.
You say PC.
Right?
PC includes
PC.
all computers out there. Okay, so me 5 years ago, so 7 years ago, when I started playing
you
Warframe.
bought your own PC.
Yeah, I bought
right?
my own PC on my laptop. I was just playing Warframe, but I was just doing it like once
How
or
many
twice
hours
a
have you
week.
got?
Now I got more, but
How is once or twice a week casual?
that was fucking like
How is that casual?
I was playing more Call of Duty at the time than I was playing Warframe. Like that's when it started in 2014.
Hold on. On your PC.
Yes, on my laptop, on my PC.
That completely undermines your point. You're playing Call of Duty on your laptop.
I was playing Call of Duty on my PlayStation 3 and I was playing Warframe on my computer. And like I was just playing Warframe like once or twice a week. It's like I was completely not into it because the thing is like a lot of kids these days which are super casual, like not all of them are gonna be ninjas, esports, super focused people. Like
Hold on.
they're
yeah, you just said you're a casual gamer playing on a console.
Yeah. I'm not saying that there cannot be no casuals on a console. I'm just saying that like calling every single person that is on a console is not true. Like that goes a bit too far. It's like the same as saying like everyone that's on
It was a sweeping statement.
You're saying that everyone that's on a PC is like a dedicated person. That makes no sense. It's like there are so many kids that are coming to school, they're having a laptop because they need to work on school, they're having a PC because they need to work on school, and they have a game installed because they played with son. Most likely it's gonna be Fortnite. Unless you want to call every single Fortnite player that is on PC a professional player or like no. No, they're not. Like there is casuals on each side of the platform, just as there are like enthusiasts on each side of the platform. And there are people that will swear by consoles because of different things. I can very much understand why you would want to buy a console, even if you are a gaming enthusiast, because maybe you're using your computer for important things. Maybe you enjoy having your storage there, having your game separated.
Tell me the name of any MLG pro gamer that plays on console and does not own a PC.
I have no idea who any MLG pro gamer is. Like even I don't know if like I don't know if you'd call Ninja an MLG pro gamer because like I mean you don't know this for that. But like yeah, I mean like there's probably like ranked people that are very high in the rank. Like there is even ranked on mobile. You can earn millions of.
No one is going to fucking do that.
There is
fucking console.
Yes, there is.
Why
sure.
do you think MOBAs, right, for a start, are only on PC? You know, the whole MLG scene, which was MOBAs exclusively for the longest time ever. Right?
So okay, so when I was playing the Call of Duty game on mobile, like they were having a esports tournament where you could earn like the top one prize was like $1 million.
$1 million.
Yeah, and it's like okay, so like if they have that on mobile, for sure they're gonna have that.
How many people?
I don't know.
Did anyone join it?
It was like you could just join it on ranked. It was like join ranked and like win.
Dude, that's just a PR stunt.
Yeah, but like, but I mean, like it's a rank. It's like
it's not like the World of Warcraft World Cup, right?
Hold on,
it's not like the Hearthstone World Cup. Actually, Hearthstone is one game that you probably.
I bet you can find like I bet you can find esports tournaments. Let's see. Let's see here. The FIFA World Cup.
No one gives a fuck about FIFA.
You don't give a fuck about FIFA. There's people that care about it, and there's here I mean here. Harkus is the first PlayStation 4 PS4 player to win the trophy. Here, boom.
What was your point about parents and this stupid console?
I'm saying that like the majority of like probably the majority of the market that you're gonna sell to is casual and will not care about your high-end specs all that much. So like
they're not casual. They're not casual. You can't call people that play consoles casual.
I'm saying that so like you're saying that everyone on the console is casual. I'm saying that a majority that you're going to sell to is casual. I'm not denying that there are casuals on the platforms. I'm saying that everyone on consoles is casual. Like that's probably not true. That is probably not true because there are people that actually earn money that actually are enthusiasts on consoles. And like this is I'm saying that not everyone on PC is like a high-end enthusiast. There's also many casuals on PC.
This has turned into such a bitch fest.
I'm just saying, like, not everyone on consoles is casual. Not everyone on PC is like a high-end enthusiast. There's a share between both platforms.
I never said anyone that owns a PC is a high-end enthusiast.
You were like everyone that's on PC is an enthusiast. I was like, yeah, I was playing Warframe on my laptop.
No, but you undermined your own point.
I was saying I was a casual on my laptop.
Yeah, right. A casual playing like twice a week. I'm quoting you here.
Yeah.
But the most of the time you were spending playing on console.
Yeah.
Playing Call of Duty.
Yeah, so?
You undermined your own point.
So what's the problem with that?
No, the point I was making, right, is that people that play on consoles are casual gamers.
Yeah, but
right?
but I'm disagreeing with that because
you
not everyone
did that. Yeah. But you said your example was you specifically were playing Warframe on your laptop, but they completely undermined your point by saying the rest of the time you were playing Call of Duty on your PlayStation 3.
Yeah, like, but that doesn't undermine my point because your point.
No, you were saying you're a casual gamer on console.
Yeah, but your point. Yeah, but that is not undermining my point. Saying that there are like enthusiast professional players on console. Your point is that console equals everyone is casual.
Show me one. Proof is in the pudding. You claim there are some. Show me some.
People that earn money by playing on their PlayStation 4. I bet there is a bunch of them. I actually like okay. You show me. Okay, I'm gonna put a burden of proof on yours as well. You show me that there are no casuals on PC, and you show me that there's no single professional player on the console. If there's only one, your point is mute.
Sorry. No. That's
If there is
your
one,
point.
no, your
Right?
point,
Your
your point,
point
your point,
is
your
you
point
want
is that
everyone
everyone is a
to go.
casual on console. Your point is that everyone is a casual on console. I disagree. I think that there's at least one person that earns money, is professional on console, and that doesn't mean like if I'm a casual, like I'm a
Okay.
very casual gamer, like sure.
Oh my fucking god! Right, you're making this happen. Right.
People that earn money by playing.
No, you can't do people that earn money on console because then you could include YouTubers on that.
I mean, like then we have to go to the definition of enthusiast or professional, because like
We're talking MLG gamers here, which is the term I've been throwing around.
well, like
We're
what?
talking
Okay,
people that go to tournaments, hosted tournaments by games developers, like Blizzard did with Hearthstone. Are you gonna shit your
I
pants
got
or
it.
something?
I fucking got it. Okay, Super Smash Bros. Melee tournaments, are they being held on PC or are they being held on consoles?
Damn. Hold on.
And I know you know about that because I remember Lost like talking about like this video that's been going rounds about like this one professional Melee player that was like there was drama
Nope,
and
I
like,
take it back. You are right.
so yeah, like that was just my thing. It's like I'm fine saying that the majority of the people on console are casuals. I'm just not fine saying that like everyone on there is a casual.
Everyone is.
No, they're not.
You're antagonizing me.
However, still,
Right.
still,
What's your fucking point about the console?
that like
Christ.
most likely getting back to like the original point is like that I think that like things like this with lowered specs are probably going to sell a lot better because there are more console consumers than there is enthusiast consumers. So that the specs or the very important points that people care about, like, I hate that they didn't make it 4K.
Between a console consumer and enthusiast consumer.
There is a difference between the
What's the difference?
well,
I don't understand.
the difference is that like okay, so let's say that like you were to buy a phone or like or let's say you were to buy like a computer, a laptop or whatever. Okay, let's say a laptop. Like you might look at like a MacBook and say like, well, that's a lot of money, and I don't get a cool processor like that. Like I don't get all my like it's not even the best processor like there is. Like I'm not getting all the performance out of it. I get barely any ports. There's no USB-C port. There's no Ethernet port. Like price to like performance ratio is way off. Like this, the OS is not like as open to me as like Windows is. I don't have as many customization. Like all these things that you can criticize Apple for, and someone else is going to come in and say like MacBook, buy that. And probably there's going to be more people that say, MacBook, buy that. Then that they're like, no, this is not good. You really got to up that thermal performance because I'm just getting like 0.5% less than I could get if you could like change
I'm
the die.
still waiting. What's your point?
So that like
So what's what you call it? A console consumer and an enthusiast consumer?
my casual consumer and officially, I think that the casual consumers outweigh the casual
You
consumers
said
outweigh
console originally, right?
Okay, a casual
That's fine.
consumer. I say the casual
right.
consumers outweigh the enthusiast consumers. So like these specs bumps that people are so worried about
Right.
in for internet forums are probably not going to matter in like this overall sales.
Okay, right. I think the cheaper console is by the kids, and that's it, right? It's if that's what they're doing, it's not going to be the equivalent of the Switch and the Switch Lite. It is just going to be, this is something cheaper for the parents to buy. So they don't have to spend 500 quid on a new console. They are spending, I don't know, 250 or 350 or whatever. That is literally, I think, the reason why did I don't understand the reason why people would buy a digital only PlayStation 5 as opposed to one with the disc drive, because I'm like, I would always want to own the physical copies of the games, which we've spoken about before.
Yeah. But let's say okay,
But
so let's say that you're like a student or you live by yourself, you don't have a lot of money. It's like, hey,
Mhm.
this thing is so much cheaper, and like the only games that I play is like Fortnite and Warframe, and like these things I only download, and most games that I get I'll just download because it's way easier than going to the shops and it's probably even cheaper. Um,
that
like
unfortunately undermines your point because there are already consoles that out now play those games.
yeah,
You're
so
better off
so
with a
so
game
so
that
that
doesn't already
so they
exist.
probably wouldn't buy that. Just like not everyone goes out to buy their phones like right away. But like right now, like why don't you buy like a PlayStation 3 right now? Well, they're not really being made. So at some point, like you're gonna have to buy the new generation. Maybe not at launch, but later on. Um, I think that like
But this assumingly that this new console, this cheaper version of the console is being sold on launch,
yeah, well they're not gonna buy it
right?
on launch, but like overall,
But I think parents would, right? See, the big thing with parents buying it is like imagine you've got I think the average number of kids per household is two, right?
mm-hmm,
For any household that has kids, I think the average is two.
yeah,
The otherwise it's like 1 point something. But the important thing is that when parent is buying gifts, they're normally buying multiple. So imagine Christmas when this is going to come out. Apologies. Imagine Christmas when this is going to come out. They're going to want to buy the games console for little Timmy, and then they're going to buy a pony for little Susan,
mm-hmm,
right? I don't know girls' toys,
yeah.
so something.
They're gonna buy a pink console
There you go.
for
No, no, Switch, right?
a
For little
Switch.
Susan. Yeah. So you're going to want to actually, be cost effective because a 500 quid console that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine the price difference between the PlayStation 5 digital only and the PlayStation 5 with the disc drive is going to be negligible,
Yeah, I think
right?
they're going to be very very similar, but I think that this is going to be more like a PlayStation 4 Pro situation, except this time like the PlayStation 4 Pro, like which is now the Xbox, which is now the Anaconda, is kind of like the flagship. It's like, oh, this is the base version, the flagship, and but we're selling this cheaper version, and I think people are going to go for it. And I think we're like, it might also be because these machines are being more and more complex. Like what we're seeing right now with phones, where it's like back in the day, like when you bought like the flagship Samsung smartphone, it was like the S1, the S2, the S3, like they were the phones to buy. And now you're gonna get like you have like the S11. I'm just gonna call it S11. I think 20 is a stupid name. The S11, which is like that's the flagship phone, but everyone buys like the S11e because like that's the like same phone but kind of cheaper, and like everyone buys that because like they're goddamn expensive. And why would you spend so much on like these things that you're never gonna use?
I
Um,
think I think a lot of it's going to come down to ignorance,
mm-hmm.
right? Because I got my Pixel 3A
Yeah,
because
that's a
it
damn good
was
phone.
it was cheaper than buying it from like loads of different networks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And um sorry, hold on. Pixel 3A, cheaper than different networks. But I didn't realize it's like the economy version, right? It is the cheaper than regular Pixel 3,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I didn't know this. And I think ignorance is what's going to drive the purchases of this cheaper console. Like, what happens if Cyberpunk 2077 runs on the Xbox Anaconda but doesn't run on the Xbox Lockhart?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Could you just imagine the outroar there would be?
Well,
So
like
I really think the majority of the purchases will be driven by the games themselves,
yeah. Well,
right?
one thing that I'm also wondering about is like one of the nice things being said about consoles is that like hey, games are designed for your console because everyone has like the same machine, whereas opposed to computers where like everyone has their own built computer because all enthusiasts build their own computers. Um, However, right now, like what we're seeing, like we already saw it last generation with the Xbox One S, Xbox One X, Xbox Anaconda now, Xbox Lockhart, the PlayStation 5 with this disc, the PlayStation 5 without disc, the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 4 Pro, the PlayStation 4. Like you're getting so many different versions. Like, aren't we now approaching a state where it's like now aren't we like getting the same PC problem now, where like maybe at some point there's going to be so many different versions of like the Xbox and the PS4 that like all the game developers have to like adjust these for this for this console, this for this platform, this for this console, this for this, and like you're gonna get the same problem that you have with PC. Maybe not in such an extreme, because like they're still gonna be somewhat general the same, but like you're still gonna have many different versions for which you're gonna have to all the games have gotta work on all of them. Like, isn't that kind of like destroying like the good thing that you had about consoles, where like it would always work?
Yes and no. I mean, I think part of the problem is that, so first off, when you're building these games, what are you building them on? You're building them on computers.
Mm-hmm.
You don't build them on the actual console itself. Another side of things is that, yes, you've got the advantage of always having the same hardware between all the consoles, but you've also got the same restrictions, right? You've got such, like, I remember Final Fantasy 13, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had an Xbox 360, whereas a friend of mine had a PlayStation 3, right? And I was playing Final Fantasy 13 on the Xbox, and the sheer volume of artifacts, you can see it like on this Discord, like as I'm moving around, you can see like graphical artifacts happening, right? The sheer volume of artifacts that were happening on the cutscenes and shit like this was astronomical compared to the PlayStation 3 version. But they had to do some weird compression with the videos just to get the damn thing to work on the Xbox 360, right? So yes, they're easier, so quote unquote easier to develop for, but you have some weird restrictions that you have to develop around, right? So it's harder to develop for the variety of different parts for a PC, but it's what you call it, you know, you don't have the same restrictions because you can specify, oh, you need at least a Ryzen 3. Oh, you need at least 8 gig of RAM. Oh, you need at least this. You can specify that. You can't do that with a console because the console is preset already. There it is.
Yeah. Hold on. Speaking of that, let me very quickly go grab something. It's going to take like 2 seconds. Just have to dive under the table. Because that's something I want to say on that. Hold on.
I don't know if I should keep talking or not. I mean, it's just like, I don't know where he went. I didn't even swap the camera. Great. Yeah, you did.
There we go.
Michel, why didn't you swap the camera?
Swap the camera? Yeah, I swapped the camera.
Why didn't you swap the camera?
Oh, yeah, bad idea. Anyway, so I watched a Linux Tech Tips video yesterday, speaking of Linux. And they were talking about the PlayStation 4 controller, which I've owned this for like a while. Apparently, this thing has motion, like this thing has a gyro in it. Like this thing has a motion sensor in it. No one uses it. I didn't even know. But apparently, like this thing, like you can just there is like an application now that you can like use this as like, they were trying it out as like replacing your mouse in like at first-person shooters where like you move this thing instead of like the joysticks. And it's like no one uses that, even though it's like a feature that is on the console, but barely anyone uses it because probably the Xbox doesn't have it. But like, I didn't know, and it's there. But like, same with the touchpad. No one uses this touchpad either.
Yeah. Well,
It's
I mean,
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Consoles. I've just seen that Blue Demon has turned around and said, actually, the limitations of the console is what forces the developers to innovate. How much do I agree with that? No, I do.
I partly agree because
I do partly agree with
because
that.
like on the one hand, like if the console, let's say it's like a storage limitation that the console has, like if the storage limitation of the console like a terabyte or something, like, well, a terabyte is a lot, like 100 gigs for a game, then like you're gonna cram as much as you can in that 100 gigs, and if that limitation isn't there, you're probably just gonna be like, fuck it, we'll just do whatever. But at the same time, it's like if it's too limiting.
So something really important, I think that we need to highlight, depends on the game and the developer. So, for example, look at CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk 2079. You know, I'd get there eventually. I was like, come on, Michel, you know what I'm talking about, right? But then, you know, so they are trying to like really make it match what we saw in like all the demos and everything. But then look at Sleeping Dogs, right?
Watch Dogs.
Sleeping Dogs. Sorry, yes, Watch Dogs. Apologies. Yes, Watch Dogs. You know what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Look at Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs was shown off to be this technological marvel of a game for the longest time ever. Whoops. But when it came to release, it looked like butt. And the reason was the developers, sorry, the publishers wanted it to work on the consoles as well. So they had the developers had to strip out so much of the cool shit. They didn't have the opportunity to make it better, right?
Yeah.
So where I agree with the notion of limitations can lead to innovation, they can also lead to steaming piles of shit.
Yeah, I think that like necessity drives innovation. I think that that's a very important thing, because like if you're nice and comfortable and like you don't have to worry about it, you're probably not going to worry about it too much. Whether like instead of like if it's really important, like you're gonna figure something out. At the same time, like that's also where a lot of success stories come from, where it's like out of necessity, I came up with this idea and bada bing, bada boom, like this became like a world famous thing. At the same time, like for every success story, there's so many stories of failure. So I don't think that like most of these statements where it's like, oh yeah, like you got to do this and then you'll succeed, or like this thing makes for successful things. Like yes, that will probably make for a lot of success stories, but at the same time, it creates so many more failure stories which you never hear about. So like you never really have that data. You know, you'll never have those examples where it's like, oh yeah, they had such limitations, so like their game flopped so hard that they couldn't even get it to be published or something. It's like, well, there were probably countless of like games or things or attempts where like they had all the limitations, but like it just didn't work. And then you have this one thing where there was limitations, and because of that they made it work, and that's why it got so successful. So it's like there is like a gray area in that. And like I agree on the one hand, I like yeah, very much agree with your statement. It's like yeah, I agree on the one hand, I disagree on the other hand. It's like yep. As long as like yeah. So yeah, Watch Dogs could run on shown a demo on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, but it was also a PS3 and 360 game. Yeah, that's like the like. I mean, yeah, it's like some limitations. Like, but you could never like release Destiny 2 on like the PlayStation 2. Like that would never work. It could never push that. Even though speaking of PlayStation 2, I have to say it's like by far one of the most technologically genius things ever. Like, have you seen how tiny that is? And we've never ever had something else that was that tiny as like the PlayStation 2.
You know why it's that tiny?
Why is it?
They took the power supply out.
Yeah, but still, it looks so cool. I mean, like, I wouldn't mind having a power supply out. It's nice and tiny.
I mean, do you know why the Xbox 360 was so much smaller than the Xbox One?
Because they took the power out.
The power supply out, right?
Yeah, but still, it wasn't close. It wasn't even close to the PS2.
No. Yeah, your point still stands, right? But comparing the PlayStation 2 original and then the slim one, that was all because they took the power supply out.
To be honest, I really don't mind, because like most of this stuff is just going to be cables in the back anyway. So whether there's like a little box there or not, I don't care.
Yeah. Cool. Anywho, I'm gonna recommend we talk about the Cyberpunk Tencent game.
Yep, let's do that.
Because I want to sort of like spin off with the whole Blitzchung and Pokemon United side of it as well.
All right, let's do that as our final topic then. Unless you want to go on a bit more, but I think that will be the final topic and that will be good.
Yeah, no, I think because I think we're like 2 hours now, but I'd like to let's get the topic right. So, Tencent have decided to make their own Cyberpunk game called, was it Code Sin or something like that? And it's made in the Unreal 3 engine. They showed off like a press release of the actual game itself. Is your thing still broken? Can you show it off?
Is I think the problem is that the problem is, and I may know why, is because like Discord has this new thing where like you can select the source, and it might have like Discord might have overtaken my source now. So Discord might have my capture card as well, and like both my webcam and my capture card, it might have both of them because it has this weird thing where you can select them. I'm not quite sure, but like it's not showing up at all. So yeah, we don't have
Right.
it.
Okay. So so basically they show it off, and it looks awful. It's like, oh look, CD Projekt Red, they're making Cyberpunk 2077. The world is going nuts for Cyberpunk 2077. Let's do our own thing. And it doesn't look good at all. Are you gonna try and show it on the...
Yeah, I'm showing up right now. That you can talk.
make you the big one.
Yeah, there we go.
And
Okay,
hold it steady.
so look at that. It merges capture card technology.
Yeah.
So as far as I've, okay, go ahead.
It looks like the people do not look animated at all. It's like, that's clearly a properly scripted thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Well,
I don't know if she actually swore then or not. Like all they show off in this is the character creation. They say it's supposed to be a first-person shooter, right? But at the end of the actual demonstration, it goes to a third-person perspective. It's like, is this first? Look at the lack of it. It genuinely looks like that geisha doll body thing from Ghost in the Shell, right? It looks almost porcelain. It looks so lifeless. Oh look, the bum, the exceptionally shiny bum for some reason. The world looks so flat. Look at that road.
well, like as far as I've read, basically, like this thing, like there's so little known about it because they showed it off last week at their like company like yearly like conference or something, and like there's very little known about it. Like people are speculating that this might just be a battle royale. Like they don't even know if it will have a story mode or a single person. Like it might just be a battle royale. Like they just showed this thing off, called it Sin, and it's like in a cyberpunk style thing, but like there's nothing much known about it yet.
Yeah.
But if they're gonna try and like make this like, oh, this is our cyberpunk.
I think there's supposed to be vehicles in it because the vehicle that they show off looks like oh god, what's the name of the damn thing? Like a remote control car, like an RF car, whereas the cars in Cyberpunk 2077 look akin to something from Mad Max, right? They look like actual proper cars. Like yeah. To be honest, I wouldn't put it past them to say like this is part of the demonstration is them turning around and saying like, oh yeah, we worked with Unreal to get our hair physics simulation thing put into the Unreal Engine. And it's just like, what the fuck? And this is something that concerns me with these games that seem to be dropping in the Western market from Tencent. Like, so they're also doing the Pokemon. Did we cover this? I don't think we did we?
No.
The Pokemon United?
No.
Right, so they did. Did you see the Pokemon United?
No, I haven't seen about it.
Right.
I know Pokemon Snap was like the latest thing.
Pokemon United is... Right, so this is a Pokemon-centered MOBA.
Ooh.
Right? For Switch and mobile. Right? It features, I think, a number of characters. It's supposed to be free to play, so obviously it's going to be microtransaction up the wazoo, right? It ignores the types
right? So you know how fire, water, grass, it ignores the type damage system. That one of the key linchpin things that makes a Pokemon game Pokemon. It just completely ignores it,
Hmm.
right? And I'm like, what? The
Well,
idea, like,
well,
it
but
looks
like that's generally been like like most often with Chinese developers in the mobile market. It's been most often the case that like you'd see that with the Nintendo franchise. Like Nintendo did that with Mario. Like I'm not quite sure where they were Chinese developers. I think so. But like with the Mario Kart, like they've been throwing out like Mario games on mobile, which is just like they kind of look like Mario games, but they're just old crappy mobile games.
well,
Diablo
you know,
Immortal was just a reskin of like a ripoff, basically.
I
Like
think that was a Tencent games.
yeah, but it's just like I think right now this thing right here. I mean the Pokemon game is just like Pokemon just like, oh yeah, just license it. We get some money. You guys make some money, whatever, you know. I think that this right here, it's just an example of like I think that we're gonna see a lot more games which are like inspired by Cyberpunk. Like you saw that when Call of Duty was like the big thing, like everyone was doing like a gritty like warfare style game. Like that was like that was becoming like a big
Which
thing.
Call of Duty?
But old Call of Duties.
No, that's not fair to say because
No,
um,
but I mean, there was a time when like Call of Duty, Battlefield, like these things, these franchises were like really big, and like you had so many franchises trying to like, oh yeah, just also like and
so
like
just
and you had it also with it like with
I want to correct you
yeah.
on something really important, right? So first off, you had Medal of Honor, right? That was developed by a team. I can't remember their name. Under EA, they
Mm-hmm.
were not happy working for EA, so they split off and they started working on Call of Duty, right? It was still the same concept, still World War II. It was
Mm-hmm.
done in the Quake 3 engine, blah, 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 blah. They did Call of Duty 1, 2, 3, and Modern Warfare. They were then no longer happy working under Activision because Activision started putting a lot of pressure on a Call of Duty game every year. Then, because when the developers left EA to go work underneath Activision, Medal of Honor games had stopped. So EA needed another company to start pushing out the equivalent of Medal of Honor, which was Battlefield 1942. So because World War II games were just always fucking selling, right? So then when Activision put the pressure on, again, I can't remember the name of the company because they changed names so many times, on the developers of Modern Warfare, they went, fuck it. EA was better than this. So they went back to EA and started producing Medal of Honor games again, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is where, so it's actually pretty much one group of developers that have actually spurred on the whole, World
Mm-hmm.
War II scene,
Yeah,
right?
but like well, that's like I didn't quite know that, so that's rather fascinating. But like at the same time, there were so many more clones which were far less successful, but just started out because of this. And this could very well be one of those things where like no one will talk
Yeah.
about this in a year's time, but you're gonna see a lot of Cyberpunk clones or things that are inspired by this. Like how many like Fortnite style games have been coming out over the last couple of years because Fortnite has been really big. How many like Minecraft
Define
style games, like just things that like feel like the game that like I mean this thing like if this is a battle royale, it's gonna be nothing like Cyberpunk, but because it kind of looks like it, like people are like, oh, this is like a Cyberpunk ripoff. It's like things are always getting inspired by like the big thing that's coming up. So whether that be
so
like a ripoff of it or like just something like, oh, let's see if we can like make a game which is like inspired by it. Like they're always gonna like turn.
so going all the way back to this whole um Fortnite inspired. Well, I mean, again,
Mm-hmm.
it's not Fortnite didn't inspire it. Fortnite was one of the many links in the chain. Like there's a brilliant Mr. Meeseeks meme of you know that scene in Rick and Morty is like, well, why did you drag me into this? Because he dragged me into this. Well, he
Mm-hmm.
dragged me into this. Well, literally, you've got all these games, and you've got like PUBG. You've got I think there's a Call of Duty. No, not Call of Duty. Command and Conquer. No, Counter-Strike, and like you got like all these different games, and like the first one is the Minecraft survival games, right? Which is like this whole battle, the Hunger Games or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, for fuck's sake! And like, you know, you can trace it all the way back to fucking Minecraft. But yeah, it's like you're right. When something is popular, everything becomes that. I remember when MOBAs were popular, everything was a fucking MOBA. When hero shooters were popular, everything was a fucking hero shooter. When battle royales were popular, everything was a fucking battle royale. And luckily, that bubble is slowly bursting. Right?
Yeah.
So glad the hero shooter one burst.
Yeah. But by the way, I looked up some more information about Destiny. Apparently, they're deleting their first free quest because they're adding in battle royale mode.
Are you fucking with me?
Yes, I am. No, like that's not true. But
I wouldn't put it past them. I really wouldn't.
I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised either. But like, this is a good timing. But yeah. Anyway, I remember when WoW was popular and everything was a WoW clone. Yeah, you're always gonna have clones. It's just like a matter of time, like how long things stick around. I'm curious if they'll make this like the thing is like this trailer doesn't tell us anything yet. It just looks like a badly made like thing, but it's like but like we don't know if it's gonna be battle royale. No one's gonna be like, oh, just like Cyberpunk, because like Cyberpunk won't be a battle royale. Hopefully.
The problem I have is this leads into the whole Blitzchung thing, right? This is my opinion alone currently, and I really want to highlight that it was Blizzard under the influence of Tencent to silence Blitzchung, right? And it's Tencent that are doing the Pokemon MOBA game. It's Tencent that are doing this rip-off Cyberpunk game. And like, at what point in time do we just roll over and go, oh yeah, capitalism, let's just consume this 10-cent, it's all right to do this shit?
Well, I think that like as long as you don't monetarily support it, like it's probably gonna fail. However, I think that like let me just say this, that like I feel that in our Western society, we've come to value services way more than they actually should be worth or valued. It's like a lot of people that go into like universities or go into like high like educations are always expecting to become like do service jobs. And like service jobs are good. Service jobs are really good jobs. However, working jobs are also really good damn jobs, because as we've seen with coronavirus this time, as like if things don't get made, like nothing like nothing gets made. Like that's a thing, which is like you can like account all the money in the world, but like if things don't get made, like the company don't earn money to like for you to go over and for you to then like earn. So like the thing is like if you don't produce things, like it's really hard to like earn money. If the company is big enough that like the company can sustain itself, like services are really important. I do not want to undermine that, but I think that like if you like I think that the primary source of income is the production of things. Like that is where like the main source of income comes from within like a company. If things don't get made, money doesn't get made. So if you outsource the production of things to other people, like these other people are like going to be the primary source where things get made, and thus money gets made. Maybe it's like not initially the big money, but it is where the money comes from. So at that point, like it's a very important asset, which has been pawned off, especially in Western culture, as like a very like redeemable thing, where it's like, oh yeah, working jobs, creating things, craftsmen, services. I'm just gonna go and like manage people. I'm just gonna look at numbers and like. I'm not saying that these jobs aren't important, but it's also important that you craft things, because if things don't get made, things don't get made. And at that point, when you give so many of that primary thing to like one specific region, like if you take a look at electronics, you can hardly find anything that isn't made in China. Like you give a lot of power to one specific region, and at that point, like one of the things that like Tencent has like going for it is it can just go for whatever it wants. It's like if it creates something which isn't financially successful, like whatever the fuck, like they have a lot of money from other projects, and people will continue to like buy and support it. And like at that point, like you've like there is a creation of like something that's big. Like, you see the same thing with like Google, and like you have it over on the US side too. It's like a lot of like the tech companies, like the website companies, like Google, YouTube, Facebook, they're all like stateside, and like they can do whatever they want. Facebook just bought Mixer. It's like, I mean, like, it's if that's gonna fail, like, whatever, you know, they'll just do something else. Google, actually, speaking of like people removing things, like Google removed the "Don't be evil" slogan from their company like years ago, which is also an interesting thing to think about. But it's like the moment that you expend so much of like things which you might find like what we have with like when it comes to like creating things, like we've expended a lot to Asia, which like there's probably more worth in that. Same with like what we say with like the social media websites. It's like we've like redeemed all our data. We've thrown all our data out there because like we didn't think it was like, worth anything. But it's probably worth more than you think. But like we don't care. We just give it out there, and all of a sudden, all these companies become so big that they can like buy things and do whatever they want, and we're just like, oh my god, how did this happen? It's like, well, maybe pay a little closer attention. It's like not everything is like worthless. Like there's a lot of work from things you have, and like make sure you trust them, and also treasure the people that like work because they create things, and that's important.
So, God, right, okay. So, while you were talking, I must apologize. I ended up just reading or skimming through an article on the BBC website, where Hong Kong's new security law and why it scares people. And basically, China has imposed new security laws that make it a criminal offense for Hong Kong citizens to basically talk to other nations, because they could be charged with inciting, hatred towards China, and they can be arrested for criminal charges and all sorts of shit like this. And like they even turned to the UK and said, like, don't interfere. And I was like, what the shit?
Well,
right?
like I'm glad that the UK has stepped in and said that like for 3 million like Hong Kong nationals that they can apply for like a British overseas passport.
Yeah.
So like that's a good move. But like basically like this is the same thing. Like ever since like, well, this is my idea, my opinion. Like I'm not studied in this at all, but the way that it appears to me, ever since we've gotten like nuclear weapons, it's given us a great deal of peace in the world, because like you're not necessarily you're not necessarily going to start off a war because like, well, God, everyone's got nukes. That's a bad thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's also created this thing where it's like we have it very good in the place that we live, and there's things that we take for granted, like the fact that the idea that we believe that like every individual has worth, every individual has like equal worth. Like those are very powerful ideas that we believe in, but like yeah, where do they come from? Where is the basis for it? Like in the facts, I don't think that there's a factual basis for any of our values. Like we make them up, and I think that I believe that these values are good values. However, like if we disagree with what like China does, let's say in this instance, it's like, yeah, that's all nice and good, but like what you're gonna do? And like that's the thing that nuclear weapons has also created. Is like right now, like China can basically just like if they do, they can basically do what like a lot what they want with Hong Kong, because like what are people going to do? They're going to wage war. They're going to do bad things. Like, yeah, you're not really like the moment that Russia like invaded Ukraine, it's like no one really did anything, because like, yeah, what are you going to do? Like you're going to risk like a nuclear war. So like you're like there is now this scenario where like, because the cost, like, I mean, I'm not an advocate for war at all. I think that cost is like ridiculous and like it's not a good thing. But because the cost has gone so damn high, the threshold for what is permissible before like before a big reaction comes in has gotten very high too. So like a lot of things are now being like accepted because there's very little you can do, and like some nations realize that and they act upon it, and that's a really, really sad thing. And like I hope that everyone that is there can like find a way to continue to live their lives in a free and nice way. And if that like involves moving, then like I hope that they're able to do it. But
I don't know. Like maybe because obviously I want to bring this back to the whole Tencent Cyberpunk ripoff, Pokemon United thing. I don't know if my point of view that if money is going from other nations into Tencent, right? That's basically money going into China from around the world. And in part, like as you said, it's like, oh yeah, just do what you want, right? It's like, no one's going to use the nuclear warheads, right? Just go do what you want. And that is something that concerns me, is the whole idea that, if people start playing the games like this, I don't know, is this too big a leap? Is this too big a leap in logic?
It's got a lot to do with like the same things, and I think that, well, again, like I'm not an expert in it, but I think that like over the last couple of decades, China has played a really smart hand, and especially their companies as well, and like seeing the worth of like this and like this labor, and then playing playing the game in such a way that they would always be the cheapest option, so that like this game that we're playing, where like we always want the cheapest thing possible, played out in their favor. Where like right now, like if you want to buy electronics, like a lot of things you can't find that's not made in China. A lot of like go around your house, see what is made in China, what isn't made in China. It's like this is not against China. It's just like it's an interesting thing to note, and like because of that, like you're getting a lot of like money sent your way, which you can invest in the local economy, which they've obviously done. And like the thing that which they had, where like you have to buy into, or like I think you have to buy into, or you have to like create it, or like sell some of your shares to like a company there, or create a company there, where like the Communist Party has to have like a hand in order for your company to like exist there, if you want to like sell your wares to the China mainland, like what we've seen with like Warframe China, that has to have like a Chinese shareholder or something. Like these things are rather clever tricks, where like if people are out to like make money, like they're like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. And then later on, it's like like there are all these small things which initially seem to be not worth very much, but if you count them all together, are worth quite a bit. Same thing which what we've seen on the United States side of things with like social media, where it's like, oh yeah, I just give out my name, or like I give my phone number, or like I just let them follow me, and like what does it matter? What does it matter that they see that like I open this news site every day, and then you count it all together what they follow, and it's like, oh, that's quite a lot, and now all of a sudden like they know more about you than any like totalitarian regime in like the last century did. And it's like, wow, how do we get to this? It's like, well, they played a game rather well, and we now have to sit in here and be like, okay, how do we move from this? And that's tough. It's like, because of like this interconnected world, like there's a lot more power that can be attained by the individual, in terms of like you can have a platform and you can like sell from that, you can have an audience from that, you can speak from that. But at the same time, it's also opened up the playground for like a lot of big players to become even bigger. And the question now is like, how big can they grow? Because also what we discussed earlier is like the corruption that happens within big corporations, and the corruption that happens within big corporations is real. And like if you go by the biblical story of like the Tower of Babel, like there is like a fundamental aspect where like things that scale up can only scale up so far until like they collapse in on each other. And like how far can things scale up? And like that's something we're gonna find out. And I think that especially like this year, with like Corona right now, and they're shutting down a lot of workspaces and shutting down a lot of like international travel, like the fact that like the United States gets most of their medicine from China, and they don't produce like inland, is something which like I didn't know, but like I don't have a lot of interest in knowing because I don't live there. But I think like a lot of Americans also didn't know. And I think like also here it's like a lot of our masks aren't made here, and I think like it's like I am a big proponent for like self-dependence, like self-sufficiency. It's like I really support like free trade, and I like to support I like to support like international trade, but I also think that like as a country, just like as a single person, you should be able to support yourself. You should be able to like, you should not be dependent on other people. Like if you want to be a full-fledged person that helps out other people, that is a person on themselves, you should be able to like care for yourself, because if you can't care for yourself, then that burden falls on other people. At the same time, like it's like, yeah, I think that as a country you should do that too. As a country, you should be able to function on yourself. and then like enhance that by international trade, but never become fully dependent on other countries, because at that point, like, yeah, it gets a bit tricky. So like it's an interesting situation, which is like far beyond the scope of like a gaming or media podcast. But yeah, it is very similar. Where like right now, it's like these popular franchises, beloved franchises, are just being taken to mobile games or like crappy like offshoot games because, well, who cares? Like, yeah, you care, but like, what are you gonna do about it? You're not gonna do anything about it, and it's probably gonna succeed because people will buy it. And the only
I just
way
hope they don't.
the only way to stop it is just like, you know, is just to like not buy it. Like that's like the power ultimately ends up in the individual, and that is you. So like as long as you don't go back to, oh, I'm gonna support this because whatever, then like as long as you do that, that's at least one person less that's not gonna spend money on that, and like as slowly surely but people convert, maybe something happens. Like it's the best you can do.
I think the big thing is not to forget what is happening behind the scenes, is not to dismiss some of the really nasty shit that's happening, and like the whole, I don't know, like maybe I wouldn't give a shit about Tencent if it wasn't for the whole Blitzchung situation. Maybe I wouldn't care that they're making some weird shitty Pokemon game. Maybe I wouldn't care that, hey, look, it's a rip-off Battle Royale Cyberpunk, if it wasn't for the fact of the corporate censorship of Blitzchung that never got an apology.
Yeah.
Like I don't care what people say. The apology given by J. Allen Brack, the president of Blizzard Entertainment, that was not a fucking apology. At no point in time did he ever say sorry.
No, it wasn't.
So
but he didn't need to, because like the company didn't go under. So like he didn't need to, obviously. So it's
but you get my point though.
Yeah, like that's the thing. It's like things in the modern world have been blowing up very much out of proportions, but like a lot of it comes down to like people like, I feel, discarding things which they thought were like not worth a lot, but turned out to be very valuable en masse. And I think that right now, like if you disagree with that, like an important thing to do consider though, in order to like make it a little bit more hopeful, is that like at the end of the day, it all comes down to the individual after all, and the individual also has been given more power. So like,
yeah,
like ultimately, like let's say PewDiePie, or like let's say my channel's got millions of subscribers, or let's just say PewDiePie. Ultimately, like PewDiePie gets watched by individuals. So like if all the individuals stop watching, like he will get no more views. So that's not me advocating don't watch PewDiePie, because I quite like him, but it's like ultimately it comes down to the individual. However, like it's tough to change every single individual, but like you have control over yourself. So like as long as you control yourself, and you have like you're already like a number down, and at the same time like you can also speak with other people and convince them of your point. If you believe in your point, you convince other people. And watch this, all of us on social media, you have a platform that you can have an audience, and if your reason is strong enough, your voice is strong enough, and like you get the audience around, like. The thing which I think which is rather interesting to think about is like we are a network of people. Like you have people around you in your network that you know, and I have people around me in my network. So like the scope of the people that we know just between the two of us is really large, not including like the people that watch us, which is even larger. And then the people that watch us and the people that we know, that they're the people that they know. Like that scope gets really large. So like if you can influence like individual people and they agree with you and they start influencing other people, like it can grow. But like it's got to be something that people care about, and it's got to be something that they believe in. And that's rather tough because like we have a lot going on in our lives. Our lives are rather complex, so we don't have a lot of time to care about so many things at the same time. So like a lot of people are not really going to care about like the Tencent thing. Like I agree. I didn't like the Blitzchung thing either, and I didn't like I think the core what I didn't like was that like it was a direct conflict against like the values that like I stand for. And it was shut down because like this company had like such a big grip on it. So I was like, I don't ever want to like play their games anymore. What they have like control in. And then I found like then my friend came around and like my friends came around. They played this Call of Duty game on their mobile, and it was a Tencent game. However, like I wanted to play with my friends, so I was like, I'm not gonna spend money on this, but like yeah, I mean, I want to play with my friends. Eventually, I deleted it. But like that's the thing where it's like at that point, like it's not. It's like a less important thing. It's like a lot of people don't have to worry about it in their day. So it's like it's really hard to like convince everyone. But in the end, it comes down to individuals. Like if you really care about it, make a change. Start with you, and then like see if it builds out. And
I think like to use this platform for ultimate good. One thing I will ask is, as a positive, please, whoever is listening to this, take into consideration that when you invest money in a product owned by Tencent, right, that gives them the money to then invest in other American companies. And those American companies will act the same way as Blizzard Entertainment, stifling the issues at hand. That is not something anyone wants. No one wants to see oppression of a nation invading another nation just because for money, right? What happens when that nation comes knocking on your door? Who's going to listen to you then?
I think that one thing which is important, which I think I want to consider importantly, is that like it's not necessarily like that. I would say American companies are good or Chinese companies are necessarily bad. I think that like one thing which is rather important is that like the size that they can grow into. Like I'm not against big companies, but the thing is, the fact of the matter is like their product comes from individuals. However, the more they sell to individuals, the less important the single individual becomes. So the less important the values of like their consideration of the values of these single individuals becomes. So like at a certain point, like right now, as you see with YouTube or Google, if YouTube or Google go ahead and like they start banning people because they just feel like it. If Twitch comes around and bans Duck Disrespect for no fucking reason, as far as we can see, or because like nothing has been said yet, which is such a weird situation. I'm involved in it right now, even though I don't care about the guy, but like because it's such a mystery. Like what is it? What did he do? What did he do?
Yeah.
It's like because like things can grow so big, it's like they care less, and like the moment that like it means that you as an individual will have less power. Like the idea, like what we've seen with like the Western idea of the state is that like the state like kind of controls, but also like serves the people, because like the people still have control over it and can like vote, like with elections can like vote new people in. So like if they do bad, like they have a responsibility and they can be held accountable in the ideal world. And right now, like the bigger corporations get, the bigger like these companies get, the less they can be held accountable by individuals, because like doesn't hurt their bottom line. So like it's not saying that like big corporations get, small corporations are good or whatever. It's not like putting these values on there. It's just that like the bigger things get, the less influence you have over it. But there's still ultimately a bit of influence you have over it. But like, be careful. Be careful.
Yeah. Cool. Right. I think that we're 2 hours and 34 minutes.
See, the bigger. So anyway, like the FrameCast is also getting bigger. So invest in Xeno's Patreon so you can keep up your influence. Actually, like I don't think you influence. I was like, anyway, but yeah, support Xeno so he can grow bigger, and you can lose your influence over him. Wait, did I just screw it up? No, but that was a long FrameCast. But like, I mean, you're gonna have to do a long time without us, so we'll miss you. But Xeno will still be uploading. So
it was good because like we were talking about multiple things, so on and so forth.
You just started up feeling bloated. I'm ending up feeling very hungry. But hey,
oh God, I don't feel bloated anymore.
Yay! Okay, so if there's any questions, let me know. Because like I almost forgot we do questions at the end. But hey, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put questions in chat.
We never did the community side of things.
Yeah, but we didn't really have comments like that we could discuss like deeply in depth. But yeah, anyway, so as I said, we'll be back in like 3 weeks' time or something. Let's see if we if we want to do the anime episode, we're gonna get in touch with DK, and if DK's down, let's get Giguk on. Actually, like I've been watching Giguk since like years ago. It's like one of the very first YouTubers I actually was watching, because my cousin was watching him. And I remember he started a Patreon. I was like, oh my god, he's like getting a YouTuber full time. Like that's crazy. Yeah, cool guy.
Cool.
Anyway,
right? Should we sign off then?
Yep. Go ahead.
Cool. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Right. So this is and Michel. If you like what you heard, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. We will get to it, and we'll probably answer any questions that you raise in this episode in a few weeks' time. Do not let that discourage you from putting things in. I don't know, maybe Michel will reply to you during his hiatus. Who knows? I mean, look at that handsome visage right there. If you wish to listen to this on YouTube, you can find it on youtube.com/postmalonegames. If you want to support me or find any more of my shit, you can find it over at youtube.com/Xenogalleon, or for some whatever reason you want, you can look me up on TikTok, which is at Xenogalleon, and you can support both of us on Patreon for as little as $1, which is patreon.com/Michel Postma. That is right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And patreon.com/Xenogalleon. Yes, that's right. I
almost forgot your name.
I forgot my name. I feel like I'm supposed to. Nope.
There's one more thing you forgot. There's one more thing you forgot, guys. I want to wish you all a very happy summer. I hope you enjoy your summer. But do one thing. There's one thing I need you guys to do before we get back. Otherwise, we're not gonna do this anymore. I need you all to go play Nier Automata because it's a fucking good game and you need to have played it. If you want to keep up with the lore of the Framecast, you're gonna have to play it before the next episode comes out, because otherwise you're gonna miss out on some major like details. Like it's canon. It's very important canon to like understand the conversation between the two of us. But no, it's actually like a real good game. But also TikTok is interesting thing about TikTok. I was wondering if I should still include this or whether we should like talk about it afterwards. But it's banned in India right now because like India doesn't want like it's banned a lot of Chinese apps, including TikTok, and like TikTok is getting like a lot of flack from like being like a Chinese spyware app sort of thing. I don't know how true these claims are, but like yeah, it's it's suffering a little bit.
Well, to be fair, the way it's going, I'm pretty sure it'll just disappear in a short bit. And then there'll be TikTok too.
Woo! I mean, like, we had Fine. TikTok was kind of like Fine too. Actually, like, TikTok Musical.ly and... No, Fine Musical.ly and TikTok. We're probably going to have, like, another weird app coming up.
Fine.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you around. Enjoy your summer.